Yes, welcome to a dull Ageas Bowl this evening. That's not a slight on the venue, it's just the weather. It is very cloudy. We've had the odd spot of rain throughout late afternoon and early evening, but as you can hear in the background, the hover cover is making its way off the playing surface, and we are starting on time in just over 10 minutes. I can tell you that Hampshire have won the toss this evening and are going to bat first. We'll talk about the situation in the table and where these two teams are at in terms of form and where they're looking to go over the next few games. But we'll give you the two teams first. I'm Kevin James. Next to me, Vipers batter Emily Windsor. Emily, great to have you for the whole game tonight.
Yeah, good evening, Kev. Good evening, everyone. And I think let's just hope, Kev, the cricket's not as dull as the weather here. you did sull it with the opener, but I'm expecting a thriller here. We've got two fantastic teams that I'm sure we're about to go through.
Yes, we are. I will go through. Shall I go through the Essex side, and then Emily can do the Hampshire side? Now, Essex have made two changes to the side that beat Kent in their last fixture by 7 wickets at Chelmsford. Those two changes are Feroz Koushi, who comes in for Will Buttleman, and Shane Snater has come in for the overseas player Daniel Sams. So Essex will line up like this. Adam Rossington, the keeper, will open the batting. Somewhere near the top of the order, Feroz Koushi will be in. And then there's Michael Pepper. My word, Hampshire fans will know all about him from last week because he got a very rapid 75 in the 7-wicket win over Hampshire at Chelmsford. Matt Critchley, the Paul Walter, Tom Westley, Simon Harmer, Aaron Nijar, Ben Allison and Sam Cook.
Yeah, what side that is. And Hampshire line up with Ben McDermott, who's in some form. He's got 60 off 49 and 83 off 44 in his last two games. So I'm sure he's full of confidence. James Vince at the top of the order as well. Again in good form. Tom Prest, a young, exciting batsman, followed by Joe Weatherley, who had a fantastic tournament last year. Toby Albert, another young, exciting batsman who came into the side and really made his mark against Sussex. Ross Whiteley, who's a white ball signing, but probably hasn't had the start of the competition that he'd like, but he's looked like he can go. He hits a long ball, so the Hampshire fans will want to see that today. James Fuller, what competition he's had with both the bat and the ball so far. Liam Dawson, the Hampshire stalwart, he does his job, doesn't he? And he bowled fantastically at Radlett, 3 for 14, small boundaries, high scoring ground, and he's back in form. Chris Wood, again left arm seamer. Mason Crane, the leg spinner, who hasn't started the competition as well as he would have liked, but I'm expecting him to come back. He's that type of resilient cricketer. And Brad Wheel to finish, the right arm seamer with a bit of pace. So exciting lineup, Kev.
Yeah, and the situation in the South Group table as we get towards the halfway stage, or certainly one or two teams are at the halfway stage. Others are not far behind. The Essex Eagles sit third. They've played 6 out of 14 group matches. They have 7 points. They're a point behind Somerset, and Surrey top the table with 11. And Hampshire, who have won their last 2 games after starting with 4 successive defeats. Well, they're still second from bottom in the table, but this will be their 7th match this evening, as it will be for Essex. Hampshire have 4 points, and they are 2 points above bottom side Kent Spitfires. What a horrible start they've made to this competition, and they're defending champions as well. So as we know in this competition, anything can happen on the night, and form isn't necessarily a good guide as to what we might see out there throughout this evening. Essex a bit stop-start. They opened with a win against Kent, then they lost to Somerset. They beat Hampshire at Chelmsford, as I mentioned earlier. They lost to Glamorgan at Cardiff. 1 game abandoned against Gloucestershire and Bristol, and that recent win against Kent. But as you mentioned earlier as well, Emily, Hampshire, real big boost for them in these last 2 games. Sussex here Saturday night and Middlesex at Radlett Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely, and I know form doesn't necessarily bode the result in T20, but confidence does. And for me, players stepping up, I named a few when I went through the team list, but actually, if players get some runs under their belt, you get confidence and you feed from that. it's very different walking to the middle knowing that you've had 3-4 low scores. You just play it within yourself. You're not backing yourself and backing your skills, and professional cricket's such a pressured environment that you know there's people in the wings ready to come in. But for Vince McDermott, especially at the top of the order, they've really put on a show for Hampshire fans, and they'll be full of confidence coming out here tonight. And actually had a net before batting next to James Vince, and I can assure you he's hitting the ball very hard and he looks ready to go tonight.
You said there was very different styles of batting on show between you in one net and him in the other.
The cover drive was on the same level, obviously, but yeah, no, he certainly does hit a long ball, and I wouldn't want to be the person throwing him his throwdowns. But yeah, confidence is key for me, and I think you can get momentum in this competition. You see it in the shorter format, and I think I've always looked down at this Hampshire side at the start of the tournament when they lost their first 4 games. They're a good side. They're not a side that opposition are going to come and think, okay, yeah, get a few early wickets, we're in. They're a strong all-round side. They offer a lot with the ball as well: pace, leg spin, left arm spin, off spin of Tom Press now as well. So they're a well-rounded side, and they've got some confidence, so hopefully they can build on that tonight in front of the home crowd.
Well, both these sides have been mixed recently in this tournament. Hampshire last year lost in the semi-final against Somerset, but in the 3 years previous to that, they were last in the South Group in 2020, 7th and 8th in the 2 years previous to that, and you have to go back to 2017. Where they were back at finals day, where they lost the semi-final against Nottinghamshire. For Essex, their last 2 years in this competition also haven't been anything to write home about. 7th in the South Group last year, 5th in 2020. That's when there was 3 groups because of COVID. And you go back to 2019, and they won the tournament when they beat Worcestershire in the final. So a mixed bag for both these sides, but they certainly have pedigree, and they certainly know what it's like to win this tournament. Hampshire, of course, have won it twice. But you have to go right back to 2010 and 2012. Just a reminder, Hampshire have won the toss this evening and have elected to bat first. It's quite interesting that, Emily, because I mean, we're still looking at a lot of dark clouds around us. There's no blue sky whatsoever. What do you think? Do they know that perhaps we're not going to get any rain tonight, or have they just decided to bat first anyway?
I think there wasn't actually rain in the forecast, and it sort of came from nowhere, and I think but in situations like this, there's not definite rain coming. You've got to do what's right for the team, and I think it's a big playing surface here, and they potentially feel like it's going to be easier to defend a total, put pressure on in the first inning. So yeah, I think the captain James Vince probably has a very good idea what he's doing at the toss, and I like the confidence. They've got confidence with the bat at the moment, so they're going to go out there and do that as Hampshire Hawks. The lap of honour he does every ground. On his little truck, he's going around waving past the school children, and he'll be going past the players who are waiting to come out on the field too.
You mentioned the school children. I think tonight is technically a school's takeover night, I think it's been billed as, and we're told to expect quite a few school-age children this evening. And I think if we look slightly to our left, Colin Ingleby Mackenzie stand, which is to the left of the pavilion as we look, I think there's quite a few there. It's quite a distance away, but it just looks the majority are over that end.
Yeah, for sure. When I was walking around, I got heckled by a fair few, and it was nice to actually see them on the pitch as well, hitting some balls. A fair few years ago, that living the dream out in the middle, and how times have changed. But yeah, no, great to see so many school children in, and hopefully they can inspire them today to go on and be the next Hampshire player or the next Essex player.
Harry the Hawk still doing his lap, trying to soak up the adulation from the spectators. He's like the Pope, isn't he, in the Pope-mobile, the way that he's well, he's actually waving. I'm not sure how many times the Pope actually waves when he's doing his
more a Queen
drive
wave.
Past. Yes, it is a little bit. He's waving up here. Actually, hello. Yes, he's waving up here. Yes, and he is. Look, he's just given the 2-arm wave, so he's obviously seen us. That's good to know. I'm not sure how far you can see out of those costumes normally, but he's obviously, whoever it is, I said he, it could be a she, it could be anybody, obviously got decent eyesight. We're just waiting for the umpires to make their way down. As we do, there are a couple of other games this evening also going on in the South Group. Big London derby between Middlesex and Surrey at Lord's. That game is already underway. Surrey 68 for 2 in the 7th. And the other South Group game going on this evening is Gloucestershire against Somerset. Gloucestershire, that game has already gone underway. Started well there, 61 for 1 after 5. And there's 2 other games on the North Group. Northamptonshire Steelbacks against the Worcestershire Rabbits. Northamptonshire 60 for 1 in the 7th. And Derbyshire Falcons and the Leicestershire Foxes. That gets underway at exactly the same time as we get underway here at the Ageas Bowl. Great atmosphere. Nice to have the music back. It was very quiet at Radley. I don't think there was much music, if any, at the quiet Hertfordshire. I say a village, it's a little bit bigger than that now, Radley. It was a village when I used to live up that way, but it's a little bit bigger. But it was a bit too quaint, I think, to be having rocky music. Is it rocky? No, not rocky music, but you know what I mean.
Did you sing Sweet Caroline down the mic for the listeners, just in case they missed out then, Kev?
No, there was no music there. Believe me, nobody's missing out if I do that. Right, we've got the umpires out in the middle, and we've got the 2 Hampshire batters, Ben McDermott and James Vince, and also the Essex fielders as well. Hampshire in their bright fluorescent yellow tops. Well, the rest of them are as well, but just the 2 batters and their dark blue trousers, and Essex in their familiar slightly amber tops with red sleeves and their dark blue trousers as well. It's not a bad crowd here this evening. I know it's been swelled by some of the schools, as we've just mentioned, but as we look around, it's pretty even around. There's certainly a few thousand here.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's great to see. I think, again, a real mixture of ages. Yes, we talked about a lot of school children, but can see a lot of older women, men coming in to watch. Hopefully an informed Hampshire side at the moment.
I've just been told that there's over 2,000 children from local Hampshire schools in the ground. Greg Stewart, the membership guy, has just texted me. Thank you, Greg, for that. He's obviously listening intently to our commentary. We're on all BBC Radio Silent frequencies. We're also on the BBC Cricket website online, and we're on the live picture feed, which is going out on the Hampshire Cricket website, on the free-to-download Hampshire Cricket app, and that is also the live picture feed going back to the Essex Cricket website. So plenty of ways to watch and listen. I'm Kevin James. Next to me, Southern Vipers batter Emily Windsor will take you through between now and the finish. It's Aaron Najjar with his left arm spin to get things underway. Bowls to Vince, who drives, pushes that out square on the offside, and there is no run. We're underway.
That wasn't how he was hitting it in the nets earlier, Kev. He was hitting it a little harder, I promise.
Is that a bit watchful? Najjar around the wicket again, runs away from us. Vince gives himself some room, and Najjar just follows him, and Vince quietly plays that out on the offside. He wouldn't have played that one either in the nets.
Maybe it's just the bowler, maybe it's the feeder.
Yeah.
Maybe Joe Maiden, who's Hampshire's analyst, but also does some of the coaching with who was feeding him. Nice confidence boosting half volleys.
Najjar has already changed the field, with Harmer going at mid-on and deep mid-on. That's gone to deep mid-off. Here's Najjar, bowls, flighted. Vince is on the back foot and cracks that through extra cover, and you can tell from the crowd that is 4 runs.
Yeah, what a shot that was from James Vince. That's more like it. Just a proper cricket shot. Steered it into the gap between extra cover and cover. 4 runs.
Vince striking at 132 in this year's tournament. That's 185 runs for him now in this year's competition. He's striking 133 career-wise in T20s, so he's keeping up that strike rate. Here's Najjar round the wicket and bowls. Down the wicket comes Vince, not quite to the pitch of it, turns it square on the leg side. They'll come through for a single, and Hampshire move on to 5 without loss in the first over.
How good is it as well, Hampshire fans, to see James Vince back at the top of the order? I think obviously the first 3 games he was batting at number 3, but since he's taken back to opening, he's really made his mark.
Yeah, well, the last two opening stands by these 2, and it's when Vince moved back up to opening. 132 here against Sussex was a county record in this competition. Now, Najjar's got a slip in for McDermott here. That's an interesting move. As he comes in and bowls, McDermott quietly plays that on the onside into the gap. And that's Paul Walter coming round from mid-wicket. And Hampshire move on to 6 without loss. 132 on Saturday, and that came off 58 balls. And then they bettered that again 3 days later with an opening stand. 124 on Saturday, 132 on Tuesday. 70 balls on Saturday here for that 124, 158 for 132 on Radlett. So too much to ask to break the county record again 3 games running, surely, as Vince works that into the gap. Walter, who'd moved to square leg, moves to his left this time, and that's the end of the Ageas first over. And Hampshire are 7 without loss.
Yeah, good first over, watchful first over really from Hampshire. Proper cricket shots, manipulating the field, and the 1 boundary from James Vince. But often in T20 cricket, early wickets really give that fielding team momentum. They need wickets in hand to go at the back end. So these two seeing what this pitch is doing. James Vince signalling to his dressing room. I don't know what he wants already.
Longer handle? I don't know.
Asking someone on the balcony, I think, to shut the door to stop the reflection. Wants all the doors shut of that Rod Bransgrove pavilion ahead of us. Doesn't want anything in his eye lines, as James Vince. But Sam Cook, the right-arm seamer, will open the bowling from that pavilion end. Slip in play. 2 fielders out, deep square leg, and a 3rd man, otherwise a ring field. Just 3 fielders in the ring on the offside. As Cook comes into Vince, and that's a player miss outside the off stump.
Good ball there, just shaped away a little bit from Vince, trying to play that one on the up. Sam Cook's having a decent tournament so far. He's taken 4 wickets, but his economy rate of 7.7 is slightly better than his career of 8.4.
Yeah, Sam Cook played for the Trent Rockets actually in the 100, so he was up there with me and looked at a very good bowler. He's got a lot of variations at the back end, good control. So a man with experience for Essex as he bowls. Vince edges, but it doesn't carry to the keeper. Good diving stop.
This pitch looks like it's just doing a little bit, isn't it? Overhead cloud conditions. I guess that's helping the bowlers a little bit. And I just get the feeling that I mean, this is a used wicket, I'm told, isn't it? And
it's the same pitch that they've played
Sussex.
the last
is it on Saturday?
T20s on. I think they've played all their T20s on this pitch, actually, Kev.
All right. Yeah, and the Vipers played, of course, in the afternoon as well on Saturday.
Cook into Vince. That's pushed through the offside. Sweet shot. The fielders are after it. 2 are chasing. The batters are coming back for a couple, but the outfield's slow because of the rain, and they have to come back for a 3. James Vince will move to 9 and 10 without loss, Hampshire.
Yeah, I think, as you said at the top of the, just before the game, that the reason I think, well, you thought that James Vince won the toss and elected bat because it is a used wicket. Whereas normally in these conditions, I think you would probably look to bat second.
It is a hybrid, though. I want to add that in, which makes pitches are meant to last longer and hold together, so it's not just a conventional pitch. As Cook comes into McDermott, player miss outside the off stump again. That's a fantastic delivery from Cook.
Good shape away from the right-hander there. Just explain very quickly hybrid pitch for those that are not sure.
So there's basically artificial grass within normal grass, if you like, so it just holds it together a little bit more. It still needs water and it still needs looking after the same way, but they can get more use out of that same pitch. And actually the groundsman who I spoke to here, they plan on playing this, using the same pitch for the whole 100 as well, so it's not uncommon that these pitches are regularly used. As Cook comes in again, and that's pushed down to 3rd man watchfully by McDermott. Will just be a single. Score moves to 11 without loss. 1 ball remains in the 2nd over.
So we might not get a sort of crash bang wallop game here this evening. I don't know, just looking at the way the ball is just shaping a bit. It's not a lot, but it's just enough, isn't it?
But with the white ball, doesn't it, it loses its shape early, so I'd be more worried about nip off the pitch, what's happening off the pitch, but at the moment swing, hopefully that will die down as the lacquer. That's hit Vince. That's a good delivery by Cook, and that's a fantastic over. Just 4 from it, 11 without loss, and that was a bit of nip off the pitch. But yeah, I think the swing will go sort of at the end of the power play. They tend to get the lacquer off the pitch, the shine off the ball tends to come away, and it becomes easier for batters to score.
That was a wicked nip backer, that wasn't it? It bounced and it went quickly, as you say there, Emily. So a change of bowler. We've got Ben Allison, the 22-year-old, into the attack. Only playing his 7th T20 match this evening. Bowls brisk, right arm, medium pace. Played against Hampshire last week at Chelmsford. He's running away from us then. No slip here for McDermott, who's on 2. Allison comes in, bit of swing there, and he edged it through to the keeper, and he has gone. McDermott drawn into the drive. The ball just shaped away from the outside edge. It caught the outside edge as it went through to Adam Rossington. A simple take there for the keeper, and McDermott goes for just 2.
Yeah, that shape we were talking about is not going to be easy for the Hampshire batters with this new ball. But fantastic delivery first up from the young Allison for Essex. Bit of shape, he's a nice tall man, he's got nice fluent action, and that's a big wicket to pick up, isn't it? When you're young, you want that international batter back in the pavilion. And unfortunately, McDermott and his run of good form has come to an end here tonight. And the exciting, young, talented batsman Tom Prest comes to the crease to join the Hampshire captain James Vince.
Yeah, 60 and 83 in his last 2 innings, Ben McDermott. So not for him tonight, but I'm sure he's got a role to play behind the stumps. Tom Prest, 19-year-old, only playing his 11th match this evening, so still inexperienced in this format.
The England under-19 captain as well. He was in the World Cup in the winter.
Allison has got a slip in now. I haven't seen the way that swung. That's a good length ball, which Prest plays that out behind square on the offside. And there's no run in the 3rd over, sorry.
So it's a cricket brain as well, isn't it? When someone's a captain, they have that awareness, and I'm sure having James Vince at the other end, your Hampshire captain, they'll be communicating there's a bit of movement here.
Yeah, it's not ideal T20 conditions here at the moment, isn't it? Seaming ball, swinging ball, overhead conditions, with Hampshire 11 for 1 in the 3rd over. That's on the line of leg stump, and that's just worked wide of mid-on, but that'll only be a single. Again, it's Paul Walter running round, this time from mid-on. Not a great throw to Rossington, who doesn't pick it up cleanly. Fortunately, a couple of the Essex fielders backing up. Bit of untidy bit of fielding there, and Prest is off the mark. 12 for 1 Hampshire.
Yeah, again, the ball's not racing away to the boundaries either, because it is that sort of damp on the grass, so it just slows up and allows the fielders to chase after it. It's one of those that there'll be a lot of chasing after the balls for the fielders.
Allison to Vince, and Vince gets one on middle and leg, turns that away down towards fine leg. The fielder is up, it's racing away towards the boundary, it's reached the boundary, and that is 4 runs to the Hampshire captain. He moves on to 13, and Hampshire on to 16 for 1.
Yeah, that's probably the shortest part of the ground down there, actually, at that angle down to fine leg in the corner. But nice bit of timing from Vince. 4 more runs to his total.
Rain keeping away here, fortunately. And Allison's ready at the top of his mark. Economy rate of 8 and over. Allison in this competition. It comes back a fraction at Vince and pushes that towards mid-wicket, where Matt Critchley does the fielding. And there's no run.
Nice action this, isn't he, Allison? It's quite skiddy. You can see he's a skiddy fast bowler, tall man, but it sort of slings through it. It's got a bit of pace, getting the swing, getting the nip.
Essex boy as well, which will please the home supporters. Actually born in Colchester. Here's Allison. Comes in again, runs away from us and bowls to Vince. Vince drives on the up. He just holds in the turf as he takes his bottom hand as the ball trickles up towards mid-off, fielded by Simon Harmer. And that is 3 overs gone at the Ageas Bowl here. Hampshire winning the toss and elected to bat first. 16 for 1. Success in that over with Ben McDermott out for 2.
So listening on BBC Radio Solent, online on the BBC app, all frequencies as well on BBC Radio Solent. And don't forget the live picture feed on the Hampshire Cricket website and app. Make sure you tune in. What's going to be a belter of an evening. A tricky start for Hampshire so far, but it's going to be a tight contest. The pitch is used, so may not be expecting a high scoring, but it's overcast conditions. The ball's swinging a little bit. And Shane Snater comes into the attack for the first time this competition and bowls, and that's pushed to the offside. Will be no run. Tom Prest, the man on strike there. So Snater had a bit of an injury. So it's his first game back. Would have been in the side otherwise. So an addition to the strong Essex lineup.
This will be his first game in the T20 this year.
He's recovered from his injury just in time. So deep square leg, deep third man in play, and a slip waiting readily as Snater bowls, and that's punched beautifully by Prest through the covers. There was a wall of fielders and he's managed to split them. 4 runs to Prest. Proper cricket shot that. His first boundary of the night. Hampshire moved to 20 for 1, Prest to 5.
It's quite interesting, we're talking about the wicket here, Emily, and in the same wicket as you say, the Sussex game here on Saturday night, Hampshire got 199 and Sussex only 22 runs behind, so you'd think there'd be runs here, but it doesn't look that easy at the moment.
Is it the conditions, though, that are making the difference? As Snater bowls, that's turned nicely by Prest. It's beating the fine leg in the ring. They're going to think about 2 here. Yeah, great running by Tom Prest. He moves to 7, 22 for 1, Hampshire in the 4th over.
Feroz Kushi, that was coming off the rope away to our left. One of those 2 changes in the Essex side this evening. The man bowling now the other.
Hampshire crowd full of school-aged children. The atmosphere starts to build. You can hear the hustle and bustle in the background.
Is it a bit more like a 100 crowd? Do you have a lot of youngsters for the 100 last year?
Yeah, I reckon so. Also, there was a lot of people that had too much to drink at the 100 as he plays and misses outside the off-stump Prest this time.
I noticed that Somerset have got that problem. Did you see that article today, published this afternoon? I think they've had to what's the word? Eject, sorry. God, what am I saying? They've had to eject a total of 15 people from Taunton this season, which is apparently by far and away the most they've had to eject at the ground.
Too many cold appley drinks as Snater in bowls. That's an inside edge, but it's going to get away with it. They're running the first one hard, but they settle for the single. Kushi quick to the ball for Essex, 23 for 1, Prest to 8.
Obviously a rowdy lot down in Taunton.
Their team's doing very well as well, so I think that adds to the excitement, doesn't it? A very strong Somerset side this year. Yeah. Enjoying the cricket, but enjoying it a little bit too much.
Yes, they are. Obviously, some of them. Obviously, a very, very, very small percentage.
But I'm glad they're ejecting them, not injecting them. As Snater into the captain Vince, that's pushed to backward. A point will be no run. That's fired in on the bounce to the keeper inside the ring. I'm sure the umpires will look at him and have a word there. 23 for 1, Prest on 8, Vince on 13, 4 overs gone.
Weather holding at the moment. Can't see any of the ground staff around the hover cover. That's always good news. When you see them coming out, that's when you need to worry. So Ben McDermott, the one batter out so far with just 2 from 4 balls. I was very much looking to see more of him this evening because at the moment he has the most sixes in this year's competition with 20. Tim David of Lancashire, 1 behind him. They have the most sixes in this year's competition. Ben Allison with his second over. Down the wicket comes Vince, thick outside edge. So it's pressed and it's gone past the backward point. Racing out towards the boundary. It's just going to be there, or is it? Yes, it is. Just been touched onto the rope.
Down towards all those school children as well. They enjoyed that one. They were cheering the ball to reach it, and they got their 4s and 6s signs, waving them about. Great to see. Great atmosphere.
Feroz Kushi out there, just ran out of outfield, pushed it onto the rope. 27 for 1 then. Prest has 12. Here's Allison bowls on the line of leg stump, and that's neatly tucked away behind square. They'll run 2 here. Prest is off like a whippet, comes back for 2. It's a simple 2 in the end by running that first one quickly. Prest moves on to 14 off 9. Vince is a runnable 13. Hampshire 29 for 1 in the 5th.
Back to Ben McDermott there, the most sixes he's played. He's actually been one of the most exciting batsmen I've watched for Hampshire in a while. He hits a long ball and hits it sweetly, doesn't he? He's a powerful batter. He's just been signed in the 100 as one of the wild card picks for London Spirit. Yeah,
that all happened today, didn't it? Prest pulls that away in the air, but safe through mid-wicket. It hasn't really got hold of it, although that is going to reach the rope. That's just beat the pace of Paul Walter. That is 4 runs. We are almost centre here, aren't we? We're just slightly to the right. The rope is almost all the way to the advertising boards. A little bit different away to our left where the tunnel area is. It's a good 15 yards or so in, but no, you're right. You are right there. 33 for 1. Prest is on 18. Allison comes in again and bowls. It's a good line. Middle stump. And Prest thinks about a single, comes down and then turns back and goes back. My word, that could have been catastrophic in the end. I'm not sure what the calling was out there in the middle, but I'm not sure it was that great.
No, I think that was the right decision in the end. It was one of those, they were kind of both in the middle, but James Vince stood his ground. Nice loud call to the young batsman. That's what you need in those situations, isn't it? You need someone to take authority rather than hold hand in the middle, and luckily for Hampshire it wasn't a calamity. It's
very easy getting run out in T20, isn't it, Emily?
I knew that was coming, Kevin James. You gave me that look. I'm ignoring it.
I'll fill you in, dear watchers and listeners, in a moment, as that's a length ball and slight leading edge there from Prest as it goes out into the covers, fielded there by Tom Westley. Before the game at Radlett in the evening, Hampshire-Middlesex, the Vipers played a friendly against the Sunrisers. And a certain Emily Windsor was batting. And what happened?
I don't want to stitch up my teammate.
Well, let's just say you
I'll
got
let you
run out.
explain. Yeah, I got run out. Shouldn't have been a run.
No, I'm not sure it was your fault, let's put it that way. One ball left of the fifth. Here's Allison bowls, and it's slightly short, but Prest works that into the gap square on the leg side. He will keep the strike as he moves on to 19 off 13. Vince is still 13 off 13. Hampshire 34 for 1 after 5.
Look, cricket can be a tough game at times, and I think you'll know as a past player, it goes in waves, doesn't it? You have a lot of highs, being selected, performing, and then you have lulls where you don't perform or don't get picked. And yeah, it's all part of the game, and I think that's what makes the highs so high. But sometimes, yeah, when things aren't going your way, they keep not going your way. But swings and roundabouts, I'm sure it'll change, but hopefully I'll get some runs sometime soon. And this is Sam Cook in, and that's played back down the pitch by Prest. Will be no run.
Good first over from Sam Cook from that pavilion end, went for just 4. Of course, we mentioned that game because, of course, Sunrisers, one of their areas is Essex. And it was good for the Sunrisers winning that one because in the Charlotte Edwards Cup, of which the final is this weekend, of which the Vipers are straight into the final, the Sunrisers, I feel sorry for them a little bit. They didn't actually win a game in the group stages. So to beat the Vipers on Tuesday afternoon was a real boost for them.
Certainly was, as Cook comes into Prest, and that's played to mid-wicket. Will be no run. Cook bowling very tight lines here. Just 4 runs off his 1.2 overs so far. Yeah, I think for them it's great, and I think, yes, they didn't lose a game, but the Sunrisers, the players, I know some of them hate people feeling sorry for them, people always talking about them, as they haven't had the best start to the whole new setup, but they come close in the T20 competition in that Charlotte Edwards Cup, just not gone over the line. As Kev's nearly fallen over alongside me. Cook into Prest, and that's Pillay down to third man for a single. He moves to 20, 35 for 1 Hampshire. So yeah, I'm really happy for them that they got that win, and I actually think they're a strong side on paper, and they're going to continue to improve. And actually, again, we talked about momentum earlier and how it's so important in short format. I reckon if they get 1 win under their belts, which beating the Vipers, who they haven't lost the game, we haven't lost the game in the Charlotte Edwards Cup, that can really kick-start. They know how to win a game of cricket, and hopefully they move forward as a side from an Essex point of view. As Cook in, and that's played by Vince down to third fine leg, come through for a quick single. Be off the pad, so it's leg byes. 36 for 1, the Hampshire Hawks. 2 balls left of the power play. A quiet power play with the bat, but would you say fair for these conditions, Kev?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I don't think we were going to see a Radlett type situation here for Hampshire. It's not really, it doesn't feel like that, does it? I'll tell you what, it does feel quite. It's a good crowd, isn't it? It's a good atmosphere here this evening.
Certainly is, with a bit of wind as well, as we almost get blown away as Cook in, and that's down the leg side. His first loose delivery in his spell, so we have to re-bowl that one. So there still is 2 balls left of this power play. For those that don't know, that when we commentate, we're up in the camera gantry at the hotel, and we get extremes of weather. When it's hot, it's boiling. When it's windy, it's like a hurricane, which we've just had there. I've had to weigh down all my paper. And when it's cold, it's freezing. Luckily today it's just the windy as Cook in, and that's pushed to backward point. Will be no run. There is a bit of a misfield They think about a single, but stick in the crease, Tom Prest. 37 for 1. 1 ball remains of the power play, so the power play is 2 fielders only allowed outside the circle. And then you'll see the field spread where 5 are allowed out. But Essex have bowled very well, but Hampshire just losing just the 1 wicket. Firepower in their middle order. They want those wickets in hand at the back end. As Cook in bowls, and that's down the leg side again. And the umpire stretches his arms, wide ball.
Steve O'Shaughnessy, that is at the far end. And when I turned up this afternoon, he'd just come off the golf course.
That's not a bad day's work, is it?
It's all right for the umpires, isn't it, really? He told me he used to play off 1. Handicap of 1. He's now 5, apparently, so he's very disappointed with the way he's playing. He's still playing off 5.
Don't fancy a round against him then, Kev,
No,
anytime soon.
I think he might beat me into submission.
Sam Cook charging in then from that pavilion end, bowls to Prest on his pads, worked into the onside, to pick up a single. Prest keeps the strike again. The throw hits the stumps. Vince thinks about another, but that's the end of the power play then. 39 for 1, the Hampshire Hawks. And there's 14 overs remain.
Yeah, another good over there from Sam Cook. Each of his overs has gone for 4, so he has 2 overs just for 8. Allison is 2 overs, 1 for 16. Aaron Nijar, the left arm spinner who opened up from our commentary end, his first over went for 7. So tight stuff from Essex, and Shane Snater's first over only went for 7. So Hampshire struggling to really get a foothold in the game, but as we're saying, the overhead conditions, they're okay, but they aren't fantastic. And this pitch, as Emily Windsor said earlier, that it's a used pitch, it's a hybrid pitch, it will be used for all the games, and apparently, as you say, for the 100 as well. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not an ideal T20 pitch, but it's not bad. It looks like, who have we got now? We've got Nijar back.
We do.
We do, with his left arm spinners, comes in and bowls. There's a reverse sweep there from Prest, really gets hold of that as it goes out to deep cover. That is Snater, I think, fielding out there.
I'm laughing at that because he's played a really inventive reverse sweep to the same line ball that he could have just hit a conventional cover drive and it would have gone the same way. That's gone so square.
He hit it well though, didn't he? 22 off 19. Vince has hardly faced in the last 2 or 3 overs. He's 13 off 14. He's been on 13 for a little while. He'll start to get a bit itchy, I think, and he's on the back foot there and hits it out into the vacant square cover area. And again, Snater comes in off the rope. And Vince will move on to 14 off 15. The Hampshire Hawks 41 for 1 in the 7th.
I feel like the clouds are lifting here a little bit, Kevin. It seems a little bit brighter.
A fraction, isn't it?
Or am I imagining that?
No, I think it might be a fraction. The lights are on, of course, as Nijar bowls. There's a sweep shot there from Prest. He hits that equally as hard on the leg side as he did with the reverse sweep earlier in this over on the offside, and he moves on to 23 now. The Hawks 42 for 1. Halfway through the 7th, Hampshire winning the toss, electing to bat first. One change from the side that beat Middlesex 2 nights ago. Scott Curry, the bowling all-rounder, making way for leg spinner Mason Cray. And I'm afraid Nathan Ellis, the Aussie, is still injured. Now there's a hoik away on the leg side. Has he cleared the field? Yes, he has. Just good shot, James Vince. About a foot over the fielder at deep mid-wicket, who I think might be Paul Walser out there, I'm not sure.
Ben Allison,
no, Ben Allison, sorry.
The tall,
who's quite
fast
tall.
bowler.
Yeah, he's one of the couple of tall members of the Essex team, but he wasn't quite tall enough. Vince on the back foot there and hits it out to Snater again in the deep on the offside. And Vince now moves on to 21. You can tell in this over that he was getting a bit frustrated, having not faced much in the previous 2 overs or so.
I'm going to make a sweeping comment here. I feel like Prest really sets up like James Vince now. I know he's a little bit smaller, but at times I look and think that's Vince batting.
Comes down the wicket and drives past Nijar up towards deep mid-off, and that is Walter, who's fielding just below us. I say just below us, it's quite a long way below us actually, but you'll know what I mean. And that's the 50 up at the end of the 7th over. 50 for 1.
Do you see
So what do you mean by that?
Like just his presence at the crease for starters, but just his technique, his batting setup, how he picks up the bat. I think he's got some Vince mannerisms and how he goes about his cricket as well. He's not a slogger of the ball, he's playing some proper cricket shot. And I just think, like, when I look, you've got to almost look twice. They've both got a number 4 at the end as well, their numbers. Vince 14, Prest 24, but I just feel like There's some similarities there, Kev.
Yeah, could be right. His shirt looks a little newer. It looks a little brighter.
And
They're bright yellow anyway, but his looks brighter.
For Hampshire fans, if Prest ends up as good as James Vince, or even better,
even half the player.
Simon Harmer, then the Essex captain, comes into the attack. The off spinner bowls and reverse sweep from Prest. He's hit that hard. Fielder comes round at cover, pick up a single. Prest moves to 25, 51 for 1.
6 wickets for Harmer so far in this competition, equal most with Matt Critchley. And Harmer is going at 5.7 and over this year's competition. That's well under his career average of 7.4.
Harmer into Vince, that's guided down past backward point, will just be a single. Harmer hands on head, trying to find a way to rattle these Hampshire batsmen, but Vince moves to 22, 52 for 1. And I'm just going to say, Adam Carty, the Vipers director of cricket, the big dog, has just texted me to say, I've just said the exact same thing, Emily, as Simon Harmer bowls. That's down the leg side, quicker ball. They're appealing for a stumping, but it's not been given. So I feel like if I've got his back in, that Prest sets up and looks like James Vince, I'm doing well.
If you're thinking the same as what the director of women's cricket, then you can't go wrong.
Harmer in bowls, that's driven up to mid-off by Prest. He moves to 26 off 23, 54 for 1.
How lucky for you that you think the same.
Yeah, that's one I'm going to tick off. I'm in his good books. Simon Harmer, then, I probably won't be after mentioning it, comes into Vince, who backs away and cuts that out to the cover sweeper. Intelligent batting from these Hampshire pair. Vince to 23, 55 for 1.
Just looking at the boundaries hit so far by Hampshire. They're steering the ball into the gaps well now. They seem to have got a bit of momentum from there, but at the moment there's only 6 boundaries.
Switch hit from Prest, he's got hold of that one. One bounce, 2 bounces, 4 runs to Tom Prest. He looks a man in form at the moment. He moves to 30, 59 for 1 Hampshire.
Yeah, that's good hitting. He only strikes at 118. I know it's still early days for him in this competition. It's only his 11th match, but he'll improve on that over the years. But his strike rate already this season.
That's driven to extra cover. Crowd catch that into the ground, but that's the end of the over. 8 overs gone, 59 for 1.
Prest is already improving on that this season, striking at 129 per 100. So he is improving all the time. 8 overs gone, 59 for 1, 9 runs.
Here we go, Kev. There's a lot of carnage going on now that we need to address in the crowd. Firstly, Sweet Caroline. Secondly, I've never seen so many children running towards the Hampshire Hawk to get a t-shirt in my entire life.
Look at that.
At the Ageas Bowl.
I think this happened on Saturday. It wasn't actually a designated school.
There wasn't 2,000 school children after one.
Look at them.
It's like a mosh pit of school children to our left.
Harry the Hawk's got them eating out of his hand there. Right, change of bowling at this end. It's Matt Critchley with his leg spin coming in. Bowls, and that's turned, and Vince pulls that away. Shortish delivery, it goes out along the ground, out to deep mid-wicket. And Vince moves on to 24. That has come off just 20 deliveries. Prest is 30 off 25. Hampshire 60 for 1 at the start of the 9th. Where's Harry the Hawk gone? Oh, he's disappeared down the tunnel. He can't take it anymore. He needs to hide for a little while. Here's Critchley again. Bow runs away from us. And there's a hoik away in the leg side. I don't think that's got enough legs. That's going to be caught at deep mid-wicket. Simple catch. Right on the boundary. And that's Ben Allison there taking the catch. And Prest goes for 30. Hampshire now 60 for 2.
Yeah, unfortunate that for Prest. He's played nicely, but he seemed to be taking the more aggressive role out of this 2 pair. But he's played nicely for his 30. He's got some momentum in the innings. But he's got to go. Good bowling from the leg spinner. Taken comfortably out on the deep as well by Allison. Joe Weatherley comes to the crease, number 5 on his back. Again, a big sweeper of the ball. He hits that sweep well. That's his shot. Slog sweep against seamers as well as spinners. Some sure he'll be targeting that leg side boundary today. Joins the captain, James Vince, who's 24 off 20. 60 for 2 then Hampshire.
49-run partnership between Vince and Prest ended there, which was scored in 6 overs. 26 balls, 4 fours in Tom Prest's innings of 30. So Joe Weatherley back into the side. He was back in on Tuesday night, having missed the game before Sussex here because he wasn't feeling too well. Spoke to him at Radley, said he was feeling a lot better, and 2 days later I'm sure he's feeling even better than that. Here's Critchley, he's got a slip in there. I haven't seen that ball. Oh, he's trying to sweep that one. That's way outside off stump. Joe Weatherley. Bit of turn there for Critchley.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Mason Crane must be sat watching in that Hampshire dugout. Exciting to get out there with what he's seen so far from the leg spinner.
Yeah, I think that's why he's playing. And that's a straight ball, quicker, and it's cut away, and it goes to backward a point, and there's no run. Joe Weatherley strikes at 131 career at this level, and this year is striking slightly better than that at 136.
Yeah, he really had a breakthrough season, didn't he, last year in the white ball format? Yeah. Really pleasing for the Hampshire fans. Got him
a Southern Brave contract for this summer, cuts that one away, and it goes on the 45. Quick single called through by Vince. Weatherley is off the mark. Hawks 61 for 2.
Yeah, and I think obviously there's lots of different formats now, aren't there, in cricket, and he was a red ball player, his technique was sound, and he made that decision of that winter to really work hard on his white ball game, and how it's paid off, and really that slog sweep's made the big difference.
Well, it has, yeah. He's off the back foot there and hits that hard out towards deep cover where Feroz Kushi is doing patrolling that boundary net. Earlier it was Snater, and that's the end of the over. 9 gone. Hampshire still have another 11 overs to bat here. They're 62 for 2.
And by no means is that Joe Weatherley's only shot, but it just seems to be a regular boundary option, doesn't it, for him, which makes a difference in the T20 game. He manages to get power with it, he finds sixes, gets it over the rope, which has really changed his white ball game. His long side, his conventional, his proper cricket shots. But what an over that was by Critchley, the leg spinner. Just 3 runs from it and a wicket of Tom Prest.
Top over, and a bit of turn thrown in.
Simon Harmer bowls to Vince, who moves outside the off stump, plays and misses, trying to guide it into that cover gap.
Yeah, there is a shot there, isn't there? If you can get it just backward a point with a bit of pace, there is that gap.
Simon Harmer in, and that's hit to past extra cover, who goes for a diving stop to his left. It's in a gap, it's in a pocket, but they're only come back for a couple. James Vince will move to 27-64 for 2 Hampshire in the 10th over.
Yeah, not surprised 2 spinners on at the moment, Emily. I think with a little bit of turn out there, I don't think it'll be that easy against the slower bowlers.
Harmer in, the Essex captain, again gives himself room, but finds backward point, dive into his right. Great.
Sam Cook, sorry.
Great bit of work from Sam Cook.
Just a little too fine, that, wasn't it? The pace was there, but it was just a little too fine.
5 fielders outside, all in front of square then to Simon Harmer, who's bowls into the pitch. That's worked nicely to fine leg. It's just going to be a single. Vince running that first one hard, but can't come back for 2. He moves to 28-65 for 2, the Hampshire Hawks.
What's that inflatable at the top of the hill there between the pavilion and the Shane Warne stand we can see? What is that? Is that a slide of some sort?
I actually think it's a bungee rope, because I keep watching children run as fast as they can away and then getting sprung, pulled back. It does look good fun. As Harmer in bowls, Weatherley advances, but can only find mid-wicket. Dot ball for Essex. Good over this from Harmer so far, just 3 from it.
Pick and mix is open again. I know you were looking at that on Saturday.
I'm still looking at it and hoping. As Simon Harmer bowls into the pitch, Weatherley turns that into the leg side. They run the first one hard again. Great bit of work out there from Kushi. So just a single, just 4 from that over. Again, fantastic over from the Essex spinners. 66 for 2 Hampshire. 10 overs gone.
Yes, good, sorry.
I was going to say, I'll tell you who might be on that bungee rope up there. I left Charlotte Edwards and George Adams over the other side after my net, and that's something I can see them, especially George Adams, getting up there, up those steps and having a go.
the Vipers players only a few days ahead of the final being allowed to do that on an inflator.
If the boss does it, anyone can do it.
So we are halfway through the Hampshire innings here, having won the toss and elected to bat first, 66 for 2. Some tight bowling by all of the Essex bowlers, and Matt Critchley, who's been one of the tightest. First over 1 for 3, comes in and bowls his second leg spinner. That's a lovely shot over extra cover there from Joe Weatherley, and a great stop moving to his left, Paul Walter, and bounced in front of him, and he's thrown the ball in as well. They have to hurry through for 3. That's Joe Weatherley picking up 3 runs, and he did well to keep it inside the rope, Paul Walter.
Wow, what a bit of cricket that was. Fantastic shot firstly from Joe Weatherley, lifting it over extra cover. Felt sure that would be a boundary. But fantastic bit of work, as you see in T20 cricket.
Critchley runs away from us and bowls, and it's pulled away, and that's in the air, and that's in the gap, and that's 4 runs for the Hampshire captain. Couple of bounces over the rope, away to our right.
Yeah, fantastic batting that from James Vince. Really big backswing, finding that gap, finding those pockets, and picks up a boundary just slightly too short there from Critchley. And James Vince punishes him.
More expensive over here from the Essex leg spinner, bowls, and that's a nice drive, but only as far as extra cover, where Harmer fields and throws and misses the stumps at the bowler's end, but Weatherley was home. 73 for 2 then. Vince has 32 from 27, and it's Critchley again then. Bowls, and that's cut away by Vince out towards Feroz Kushi, again in the deep on the tunnel side of the ground. Vince is 33, 74 for 2.
Essex have been really impressive here for me, Kev. They're just bowling tight lines and bowling to their fields. They're not giving much away for Hampshire, not giving them the opportunity to find the boundary, which is why we're sort of seeing a steady run flow.
Just the 1-6 so far. That's off the bat of Vince, and that's cut away again by Weatherley. And the batters, you can see, really are just trying to get on that back foot, aren't they, and find that gap on the offside, almost as a matter of course. And then if the ball is a little bit further up, or even shorter, then they're going leg side. 75 for 2. Vince back on strike. Weatherley has 6 from 7. Critchley again, bowls. And he's on the back foot, that's short, that's pulled away. Now it's wide of the mid-on fielder, but I think that will be pulled up inside the rope. It is by Michael Pepper. And that'll be 2 runs to James Vince, and that's the end of Critchley's second over. And he's gone for 14, so that over cost him 11. Hampshire 77 for 2.
Yeah, good over for Hampshire, 11 runs from it. Just
probably about one of the better overs for Hampshire, that one.
Yeah, just building from the start they've had. I think the key thing for Hampshire here is they're 2 wickets down, so I'm sure they'll be going through the gears now. They've got power in that middle order. Toby Albert to come in next, Ross Whiteley, James Fuller. So a lot of power that can finish off the games. Unfortunately, early season they've had too much to do, but they've built a nice platform here. There's Kushi, the left arm spinner, bowls to Weatherley, reverse sweep straight to the fielder at backward point, but they run through for a single. Najar, sorry.
It's his 3rd over. Switching ends.
Kushi is definitely a batter as well.
I think he's in the side for his batting. Yes.
He could come on and bowl, you never know.
Yeah, no. Well, he hasn't got any wickets yet, so we're not likely to see him. In fact, he's not bowled in this competition, so we're probably even less likely to see him.
Stranger things have happened, Kev. Najar, the left arm spinner in. Vince gives himself rooms, hits that down the ground. Will only find the fielder at long off, so he picks up a single. Vince to 36, 79 for 2. What do they need here, Kev?
Well, what's Wasp showing 162? I'd say that's pretty much. I think 160 is pretty much around the 160, 170 perhaps. Najar
in, Weatherley reverse paddles that, so it's beaten backward point. They come through for a couple as the fielder slips and can't pick it up on the second attempt. Weatherley manipulating the field, clever batting. Here moved to 9, 81 for 2.
Yeah, Sam Cook there. Hampshire won this game last year by 18 runs with a score of 171 for 8. Essex won by 54 runs the year before with 168 for 3.
Najar in again, bowls, this time swept onto the leg side, out to the boundary fielder. They just jog through for a single.
So I think we're fair to say that you need 160 probably. 2019 there was a tie between these two sides, 139 each.
Hell of a game. I don't know if people following the T20 Blast seen the Roses clash, the Northern clash. Both of those have nearly ended. Well, one did end in a tie, and yesterday's match nearly did as well. As Vince advances, that's hit high in the air. It's in a pocket. There's 3 fielders charging after it, and it lands safely. Just a little pitching wedge over the fielder, and they come back for a couple. Vince to 38, 84 for 2.
Yeah, he got lucky there, didn't he? He wasn't quite at the pitch of the ball there, and went through with the shot anyway, and it just straightened on him a fraction, so it was nowhere near out of the middle, but he just got lucky.
Change of field, so they open up that leg side, they take the mid-wicket fielder out, so there's an easy single on that onside and have 2 points to stop that reverse sweep, to stop that little dink through the offside. As Najar in approaches from that pavilion end to Vince, who does knock it into that onside. And he'd just come through for a single, fielded off his own bowl in the jar. 85 for 2 then Hampshire. That's 12 overs gone, 8 remain. And the crowd enjoying themselves. There's a lot going on. There's pick and mix vans, there's fish and chip vans, there's hog roasts. But I'm let down tonight, Kevin. Do you know why?
Go on.
The fish and chip double-decker bus is not here and replaced by Cornish pasty van, which my dad would be very happy about.
Would he? Does he love a Cornish pasty?
He does, but I feel like the van made it to our right.
No, I had a Cornish pasty last night.
From this van?
No.
Wasn't at the ground 24 hours early.
I know it feels like I'm here every day, every night, but actually, amazingly, yesterday I wasn't on the ground. Which actually does make a change. Actually, I have to think about that. Wasn't I? No.
85 for 2 then Hampshire Hawks. 8 overs remain. James Vince, the captain, still at the crease.
Shane Snater back into the attack. His first over went for 7 at the pavilion end. He switched ends to our commentary and the hotel end, and Vince drives on the up, hammers it to extra cover, but it's straight at Harmer.
Wow, that was a backlift and a half, wasn't it? From James Vince. He was trying to hit that hard, but unfortunately straight to the fielder.
The Churros fan's still there, or the Churros stand.
That tends to be a highlight, doesn't it, towards the back end of the game, the second innings. There tends to be a long queue there.
Yeah, there's a bit of a queue at the moment. It's about 6 or 7 deep, but you're right, it was a lot deeper than that on Saturday. Vince hammers that away on the leg side. That's 1 bounce down to deep mid-on, where Paul Walter does the fielding, and Vince moves on to 40 now. Well, that's come off 34 deliveries. Hampshire 86 for 2 in the 13th.
Do you sense Vince is getting a little bit frustrated out there, just looking at his body language, practicing his shots? He just doesn't seem to quite be getting hold of it.
He doesn't like it when he's not timing it, does he? You can see him get a bit frustrated. He thinks that everything should come out the middle of the bat. Here's Snater bowls to Weatherley. There's the hoik that he plays, the slog sweep, but misses it on this occasion as it wraps on the pad and it goes out on the offside, and that will be a leg bye, signalled by the umpire. Hampshire 87 for 2.
Weatherley just signalling to Vince there about it with looked like it was an off cutter, so slower ball into the pitch. Just signalling to his captain. But the hoik, that was a bit harsh, Kev.
Yeah,
it's a little bit better than the hoik.
It is better than the hoik, isn't it? Snater playing his 29th T20. That's a hoik as a bottom edge, and it sort of makes its way out to a deepish square on the leg side. That's more of a hoik than a slog sweep.
Yeah, and I think Snater's taken the pace off the ball here, bowling slower balls into the pitch. It's just hard for those Hampshire batters to. There's no pace to work with. Not finding the boundary at the moment. That leg side's really, really open. 4 fielders on that leg side. Just a deep cover as well. So mid-off in the circle. No fielders in the ring. It's like a half moon out on the boundary.
Yeah. So there is a single on that leg side every time. Here's Snater, right arm over, comes in and bowls to Weatherley, who plays cross-batted down the ground, and that is 4 runs. 2 bounces as the ball makes its way over the rope just below us.
Do you know, that's my shot that I've renamed. It's called a strapple, so straight pull. Everyone laughs about it, but it was a perfect example of it there from Joe Weatherley, just on the back foot, pulling it straight. 4 runs to Joe Weatherley.
Completely horizontal bat, that one. Kevin James and Southern Vipers batter Emily Windsor taking you through this game. 92 for 2. 1 ball left of the 13th, being bowled by Snater. That's pulled away in the air. That's 6. Behind square on the leg side. That's flat. That's come out in the middle. And a first maximum for Joe Weatherley on the night. Only the 2nd maximum for Hampshire so far. 98 for 2 at the end of 13.
The ball hasn't come back either as well. It looks like there's children down there that are bribing the Essex fielder. I'll only give it back if you sign my 4 or 6 card. He's eventually got it back. But what a strike that was from Joe Weatherley. That's his signature shot. And he's delivering here. Hampshire look like they're about to kick on now. They've just got 7 overs left. Wickets in hand. Now's the time to go.
Yeah, the weather's holding off for us at the moment, even though we've got full cloud cover all around. It's high enough to not be too much of a problem, but we look to our left towards the Portsmouth way, down the motorway.
Don't say it, Kev. Don't say it.
Your area. It's always raining over that way. And to our right, sort of to the west, and
looks
New
even
Forest.
worse.
It does look slightly darker, actually, yes.
It's away. Harmer, Simon Harmer, the Essex captain, into the attack to Vince, who backs away and punches that up to long on. Will pick up a single. He moves to 42 of 36, 99 for 2. Hampshire 1 away from the 100. 6.5 overs remain, so 37 balls. Hampshire need to look for that 160 plus. Looking at previous scores here, previous wins against Essex, as Simon Harmer bowls, and that's swept into the leg side. He's hit that very well, and that's 4 runs. That's a great bit of batting from Joe Weatherley. The fielder was off the rope to try and prevent those 2s, but costly in the end, because had he have sat on the rope there, I think he would have come round and cut it off, and that's the game you have to play here at the Ageas Bowl. Finding the balance between 2s and 4s, and he didn't quite get that one right, but that's Hampshire's 100.
Yeah, throws Cushy out there. But, you're right, you need to come off a few yards, but you do run that risk.
Harmer's just brought him slightly straighter as he bowls to Weatherley. This time he swept square and hard, but Snater does the fielding. So it'll just be a single this time to Weatherley. He moves to 25 off 15, striking at 166. So doing a job here for Hampshire.
Yeah, the slog sweep's coming out a bit more often now for Joe Weatherley as we count these overs down.
Harmer in again. Vince plays that sweetly out to the cover sweeper. Will just be a single. He moves to 43. 105 for 2. Hampshire just looking slightly greyer out there. I hope that's not rain I see up in the trees and just my blurred vision.
It's not far away, is it?
As that's reverse swept this time by Weatherley. Timed sweetly again, but they're going to think about 2. They settle for 1. That's a bullet arm out there from the seamer, Ben Allison, who's patrolling that cover boundary. Weatherley to 26, 106 for 2, 31 ball remain.
Yeah, you can see why he's patrolling the boundary. He's got good arm, isn't he, Allison?
Harmer bowls again, and that's pushed into the offside. And I feel like there's rain in the air then, Kev, as that we got a blast of wind blown towards us. But the groundsmen are moving, so that's a good sign. But 6 overs remain then, 14 overs gone, 36 balls left. 107 for 2, Hampshire.
9 runs off that Harmer over. So far, Ageas Bowl 3 overs, none for 26 with his left arm spin. Sam Cook, 2 overs, none for 8. Both these overs only going for 4. Great stuff from him. Ben Allison, 2 overs, 1 for 16. Picked up the wicket of McDermott for just 2. Snater, 2 overs, none for 19. Harmer then has 3 overs, none for 22. Matt Critchley, 2 overs, 1 for 14. Picked up the wicket of Tom Press for 30. Change of bowling. Looks like Critchley with his leg spinners is back into the attack. So 6 overs to do here for Hampshire. And it's Vince on strike with 44 from 38. Vince has been quite consistent in this competition recently. 65 against Sussex here Saturday, 54 not out against Middlesex at Radlett Tuesday. Short, pulled away in the air, this could be caught deep mid-wicket, and it's a simple catch. Yet again, it's Allison again at deep mid-wicket, straight into his midriff. He never got hold of that at all, Vince. He goes for 44, Hampshire 107 for 3.
Yeah, he had to start going there, didn't he? He's looking for the boundary. Critchley picks up another big wicket. Tom Press, the other batter, he's removed, but Hampshire need to put that foot on the accelerator. They've built a platform, but James Vince disappointed walking back to the crease. A fantastic knock from him. Just held that innings together and built a platform. But Ross Whiteley comes to the crease. So just coming up a position. Toby Albert, we've seen bat at 5 previously. But he'll be looking to make a mark again today for Hampshire. He's got some starts, but he hasn't gone on.
Yeah, a couple of 20s for Ben Whiteley, 27 in the first game against Middlesex here and 23 against Essex at Chelmsford last week. These only 2 scores. Oh, in fact, I was going to say only 2 scores in double figures. He actually made 10 against Somerset in the defeat here as well. So he strikes big, 141, which actually is the highest in the Hampshire side, just above James Fuller. So we know he can score very, very quickly. And with these later stages, this might not be a bad time for him to come in.
Yeah, absolutely. And from what I've seen of him, again, I've seen some big boundaries, some big hits. So he's more than capable. We know he is. He was a fantastic white ball signing, I think, for Hampshire.
Vince's 44 came off 39 balls, 3 fours and a 6. 47 he put on for that 3rd wicket with Joe Weatherley, who was at the non-striker's end. It's Ross Whiteley, the left-hander, who drives and it hits Weatherley. Not hard particularly, it was just a push drive. It wasn't a full-blooded drive, otherwise I think Weatherley would have been struggling to run that single. He just turned his hit him on the top of his back.
I feel like that would have hurt though, Kev.
It probably
but
still
that
would
was,
have done, yeah.
It was amusing because it still hit his back and went out to the deep long on fielder.
I think you're right. I was probably being slightly unkind, but I think when you see some of the drives these days, I think it could have been 100 times worse. But Weatherley's okay.
Tough cookie.
Oh.
I think I'd be down crying right now, Kev.
Critchley bowls. Weatherley comes down the wicket and drives to mid-wicket. In fact, goes out towards deep mid-wicket, where Ben Allison comes in. He's taken a couple of catches out in that area, and he got Ben McDermott out, caught behind by Rossington. So Allison's had a hand in all 3 wickets so far for Essex. 109 for 3, 3 balls left of the 15th, and it's Whiteley back on strike. Right, there's definitely rain in the air, but it's light rain at best. That looked like a googly or attempted googly there from Critchley as Ross Whiteley plays that out quietly on the offside, no run. Certainly wasn't a leg spinner. It might have been the top spinner, but it wasn't a leggy.
This is what you see when teams lose wickets throughout the T20 game. It just slows it up slightly as Whiteley takes a little bit of time to get going, take a couple of balls.
Cuts that away, gets a top edge. That's a good diving stop at backward point, in fact on the 45. But Whiteley will come through for a single, takes the Hampshire total onto 110 for 3. Couple of 40-odd partnerships for the 2nd wicket, 49 between Prest and Vince, 47 between Vince and Weatherley. They're the top partnerships in the 3 wickets so far. It's Weatherley back on strike, 27 off 17, as Critchley comes in again and bowls. Quietly, Weatherley plays that away on the 45 on the leg side and will keep the strike. I think that's quite a deliberate ploy there from Weatherley. We have 5 overs left here of the Hampshire innings, who won the toss, elected to bat first. They're 110 for 3, just 3 runs off that Critchley over. Really good effort from the leg spinner. 2 for 18 for 3 now.
Yeah, he's bowled really nicely. I think the leg spinner here, Critchley, has picked up some key wickets. James Vince, who was going along nicely. Tom Prest also, who was just about kicking on, and I think that's the key thing for me. Essex has picked up wickets at key times. He picked up the one of the man in form, Ben McDermott, in the power play, but then just as Prest and Vince were building a solid partnership and both going, picked up the wicket of Prest, and they've done the same now with Vince. So they've not let 2 batters settle, really put their foot on the accelerator, but Hampshire have a platform now and they need to kick on. 111 for 3, 5 overs remain, so 30 balls. That half moon field again out on the leg side and a deep cover as Allison in bowls. That's tucked away. They're going to run this first one hard. They're going to think about 2, and they don't. That's a great bit of work out there. He's quick to the ball, Kushi. Just a single to Weatherley. He moves to 30, 29 from 19, 112 for 3.
Is that what you call it, a half moon field?
I've made that up today, but I quite like it.
I've never heard that before. Oh, right, yeah.
It's a great description, don't you think?
It is, yeah.
Do you know what I mean by half moon field? Well,
it's shaped like a half moon.
You can see it. So
I presume.
The listeners probably have no clue.
At a wild guess.
I just feel like a half moon field sounds nice, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, I like it. I mean, you come out with some great sort of phrases over the last 2 or 3 years when you've done commentary with us, and that's another one that I've not heard. Can't think of the others, but
yeah, I was about to say any more. Allison coming in, the right arm seamer to Whiteley, who just guides that to backward point. Weatherley says no, A nice loud call of weight. Whiteley a bit frustrated there, a dot ball, he's 2 off 4. 112 for 3. And do you think this is a bit of pressure on Ross Whiteley? He knows there's obviously an Aaron Donald's not making the side at the moment because he didn't start well for him. There are players in the wings.
Yeah.
He needs to go on and get a big score here.
Yeah, he's got a decent reputation. Striking at 141. You would think somewhere along the line there is a cameo in there. Maybe tonight.
Allison into Whiteley again, and that's played into the leg side. That's in a nice gap because the square leg fielder has to come round, and they come back for a couple. Good bit of running. Whiteley moves to 4, 114 for 3. And I don't mean that as he needs to score, otherwise he's going to be dropped necessarily, but I think confidence-wise as a batter, when you haven't been getting runs, you're well aware of that, aren't you, when you're in the middle, and that does affect how you play, how hard you hit the ball, what options you take on, doesn't it?
Definitely. Oh yeah, and it's not easy coming in the middle order in this competition. You've either lost a few wickets in the power play, which Hampshire did in the early stages of this competition, or you hardly get a bat, or come in really late.
Left-handed Ross Whiteley then in. Allison bowls, that's hit high in the air, there's a fielder under it. Has it gone all the way? That's a great catch if he's caught that. That's a fantastic bit of work. The umpires are going to look and have a chat here. Ross Whiteley has not moved, but it's one of those that's taken overhead. The fielder's tried to jump to take it, and we'll be interested if we can see a replay of that one for those that are watching on the live picture feed from the Hampshire website. But Ross Whiteley's not moved here, and the Essex fielders are celebrating. Whiteley's body language does not look amused, and the umpires are going to come together. So an interesting decision here. Essex aren't even looking back, the captain's not looking back, and he's given it 6. Hey, the Essex fielders don't look impressed there. But Ross Whiteley, 6 runs to him. He moves to 10. And that's a confusing one.
Well, I thought that was pretty good. I think that might be Michael Pepper out there on the boundary. And I have to say, I know it's at the far end of the ground, but it looked good, didn't it?
I think it was the timing of the timing of the jump was most important there.
Oh no, he's been told to go.
Oh, now this is even more confusing.
Stephen O'Shaughnessy, the umpire, is saying to Ross Whiteley, you've got to go.
But he also just signalled 6.
Now, how weird is that?
This is very, very unusual. So Ross Whiteley is gone. He's walking back to the dugout very slowly, turning back, a bit unsure of what's going on here. And by far, this is one of the most unusual things, unusual passages of play I've seen, but apparently it was a great bit of work by Pepper on the boundary. He's gone for 4 off 6 balls.
Well, Ben Allison keeps up his record of having a hand in every wicket. A couple of catches and a couple of wickets when he's been bowling. It's very unusual, isn't it, for an umpire to signal 6, and then there's a change of mind. But at the end of the day, it's in the book now with Whiteley out for 4 and Hampshire 114 for 4 in the 16th. It was a good clean hit, just wasn't quite enough. Another couple of feet and he'd have been all right.
And these moments can be really big in games of cricket because Essex have got that decision. They've got a bit of momentum. The Hampshire dressing room are obviously confused about this decision, and Ross Whiteley's still not up the dressing room stairs, those that know from chatting to the coaches. But Allison will come into Fuller, who's the new man. That's down the leg side. Will be called a wide. The umpire stretches his arms this time, and the score moves to 115 for 4. But this is a really important passage of play now, because if Hampshire lose momentum, they'll find themselves short of what was a promising start, the platform that they built, but they need to let it go. The 2 batters out there, Fuller and Weatherley, need to build a bit of a partnership as Allison in bowls to Fuller. That's heaved into the leg side. That's timed sweetly. The fielder comes round and kicks over the rope for 4. No, he doesn't. Wow. Snater diving, helping his teammate Kushi as he kicked it in the air and pulled it back round. Fantastic bit of work as the rain does start to fall overhead. Just light drizzle. The umpires don't look interested, and the groundsmen are just walking towards the hover covers now, which is never a good sign.
No.
but that was 2 runs to Fuller anyway.
Great fielding. We've got great teamwork between those two. Fantastic stop, and then somehow palmed off to Snater. What brilliant piece of fielding.
Athletic, if anything, but Allison into Fuller, great bouncer. Pace over Fuller's head. He tried to play it, but too quick. 117 for 4 then, 4 overs remain in this Hampshire innings. And Essex have just come back in that over, just 6 runs from it, and they picked up the wicket of Ross Whiteley.
Yeah, definitely a bit of rain in the air. You can see it in the floodlights at the far end of the ground. If you just look in the light, the immediate light coming off those bulbs, you can see that sort of rain sweeping across. It's not heavy, it's more that sort of mizzle in the air, but there's enough of it that will just make the wicket a little bit skinny. Ben McDermott for 2 then, Tom Prest 30, Vince 44, Ross Whiteley 4 are the 4 batters out for Hampshire. And staying in the attack is Matt Critchley, who's doing a good job with the ball. 3 overs, 2 for 18. Whether he can actually grip the ball much at the moment, it'll be interesting to see. That's a decent delivery, as whether he just stabs that away to backward of point. They come through for a single as the fielders are fairly deep there. That's Najar, one of 2 men behind square on the offside. Weatherley's 30 off 20, that brings Fuller back on strike, who's 2 off 2. Hampshire 118 for 4 at the start of the 17th. Fuller's another one of those explosive batters. I mentioned Whiteley striking at 141. Fuller not far behind him. Correa striking at 140. Here's Critchley, bowls. Fuller goes for the big one and he's bowled. Bowled off stump. He went for the big shot, wider mid-on Fuller. And he's bowled, playing across that one. He goes for 2. And Hampshire have slipped now to 100, I think that's 114?
117.
117 for 5.
Yeah, they've just lost wickets here. Critchley, that's his 3rd wicket of the evening. The leg spinner, he's bowled impressively, picking up key wickets, but that's just gone under Fuller's bat as he's targeting that leg side boundary. Toby Albert comes to the crease for Hampshire. We saw him play a nice innings against Sussex here, using a lot of paddles, ramps, particularly against the seamers, manipulating the field, but he needs to put a partnership with Joe Weatherley here. Joe Weatherley, the non-strikers end, 30 off 20, but Essex have pulled this back nicely. I talked earlier about them picking up wickets at the right time and then not letting Hampshire go at this back end.
You're right, yeah, 23 not out of just 15 deliveries on Saturday night. I think Hampshire's reputation already in this tournament is, if you get Vincent McDermott out, there isn't a lot coming in behind that, and there's a little bit of that this evening.
I feel like there's batters there that can do a job, but they're just not quite there.
Critchley bowls, and that's a flat bat shot and stopped at extra cover. The crowd thought it was in the air, but it was hit into the ground, fielded by Najar there at extra cover. 118 for 5 then. Toby Albert faces Critchley again, gives himself some room, and he's hit it just to the left of Najar, who throws it in left-handed, but it's a little wide of him, so he's off the mark. Albert, 119 for 5. Trying to get the crowd going here with a couple of the usual G-ups coming over the tannoy. That rain is still in the air here, as Weatherley's cracking that off the back foot. That's backward a point, that's hit with pace, but it's fielded. No, it's not. Oh, it's just carried over the rope by Kushi, or is it not? No, it isn't. Oh, it's signalled for. I thought the way he threw it in, he thought that he'd kept it in, but the umpire says differently, signalling forward to the scorers.
I think that was a frustration throw back in there from Kushi. But Albert's job here with Weatherley striking it like this is to get him back on strike.
Yeah, Weatherley 34 of 21 plus this as that's cut away, backward a point. Albert's off like a whippet, running to the danger end. He's easily home, and that's the end of another over. There are just 3 overs to do here. I think we'll keep playing here. The rain is not that threatening, even though it looks threatening above us, but it's not exactly pouring down. It's 124 for 5. Weatherley has 35 from 22, Albert 1 from 2.
Yeah, the crowd aren't moved. That's when you usually can see it's getting too much, as they all try and pile under the Shane Warne and Colin Ingleby Mackenzie stand. They're all staying out, enjoying a few to drink, enjoying the pick and mix on the top that I'm still yet to attend at Simon Harmer.
Are you going via there on your way home?
Fortunately, my car's at the other end of the ground, so it'd be a long walk there and back. But Simon Harmer into Weatherley, who advances down the pitch. He's played that nicely into a gap, so Toby Albert's going to have to think about 2 here. The answer is no. Weatherley just a single then. He moves to 36 from 23. 125 for 5 Hampshire. 17 balls remain. Hampshire need to find a boundary here. Essex trying to put the squeeze on Albert. Put a mid-wicket in, not letting him get that easy one on the onside. There's Harmer in, bowls again. Albert hits that up towards the long off fielder, so he'll get off strike. He'll get Joe Weatherley back on strike. He moves to 2, 126 for 5.
Wasp on the scoreboard showing 153 Hampshire total at the end of 20 overs, which I think they'll be reasonably happy with. It could have been, there was times when it looked like it'd be more.
Simon Harmer into Vince, who's Weatherley, who's played that on the onside. He slides Simon Harmer and doesn't actually field the ball in the end. He gets stuck on a wicket end, but it's a single after all of that. Weatherley to 37, 127 for 5.
Weatherley equals his top score of the season, 37 off 24. Ironically, that was against Essex last week at Chelmsford.
Hopefully he can go one better tonight, but it'll be Albert on strike. Grey skies above us, floodlights on, doing the job of the light for the Hampshire batters. A good crowd in, a lot of school children enjoying it as Harmer advances. Albert's hit that hard. 4 runs straight down the ground. Get out the way of that one, Joe Weatherley. Albert moves to 6, 131 for 5.
I think Harmer was trying to get out of that as well. He moved quickly to his right, and I think he thought better of it. I think that's as good a struck hit as we've seen tonight.
Full toss. He used his feet, made it full toss. Didn't let it hit the pitch. There's Harmer in again, bowls. He advances this time and plays it up towards long off. Extra cover comes round. Will just be a single. He moves to 7. Again, ground announcer trying to G up this crowd. Trying all the tricks.
The same ones.
On repeat. There's Harmer into Weatherley, who's played that past Harmer. So they come through for a quick single. When I say quick, Joe Weatherley just jogs and keeps a strike. He moves to 38, 133 for 5. Then 12 balls remain of this Hampshire innings.
Harmer's bowled out, 4 overs, none for 31. Weatherley with his top score in this competition this season. Hampshire have another 12 balls remaining here to score as many as they can. I think 150 odd gives you a chance here. But the way Michael Pepper and Matt Critchley batted against Hampshire last week at Chelmsford, that probably won't be enough. But of course, this is another night, another day. And we will wait and see. Ben Allison back into the attack. He's had a good night so far, 2 for 22 and a couple of catches as well at deep mid-wicket. Probably feels at the moment that there's at least another wicket for him here in his last over. He's bowling to Joe Weatherley. Joe Weatherley hooks that away on the leg side. It's in the air and that is caught at deep mid-wicket. Well, I told you he might get another wicket here. And Allison makes it 3 now as Weatherley, with that slog sweep of his, didn't come out of the middle of the bat. He goes for 38 and Hampshire won 33 for 6.
Yeah, Hampshire batters getting out a similar way, which suggests the ball's not quite coming on the pitch. They're not quite timing the ball to hit onto that onside. But again, 12 balls left. The Hampshire batters had to go after it. Pepper takes the catch again. He's fielded fantastically so far for Essex. They're bowling to their fields, Essex. They're not making it easy for Hampshire. And Liam Dawson comes to the crease to join Toby Albert. He'll get a round of applause from this Hampshire crowd, as he always does. The home man, number 8 on his back, a man we see so often out in the middle for Hampshire. Got a bit of work to do here, 11 balls to enjoy.
Yeah, strikes at 113, 100 as well, which is not big numbers by any stretch of the imagination, but it's almost a licence with just 11 balls left. Well, I suppose they have to be a little bit careful because they have lost 6 wickets. 26 balls, 3 fours and a 6 in that Weatherley innings of 38. There's Ben Allison now with 3 for 22 against his name. runs away from us, right arm over. It's a good Yorker, and let's hit it right into the ground. The ball travels nowhere, and Albert calls Liam Dawson through. What a Yorker that was.
Yeah, that's not a delivery you want first up, is it? Get your toes out of the way of that one, Liam Dawson. He's played that fantastically well, getting his bet down to that.
He's confident tonight, Ben Allison, the 22-year-old, only playing his 7th T20. And my word, his confidence is there. You can see it. 134 for 6. Albert back on strike, 7 off 5 for the 20-year-old. And that's short, and that's cut away high in the air, and that's almost gone for 6 down to third man. One bounce over the road. Yeah,
great shot that from Toby Albert. I really enjoy watching him bat, Kev. He's a young batter again, and in this T20 format, he really seems to be putting his hand up here for Hampshire so far in this competition. He looks like he's enjoying himself out there as well. A few arm swings, twisting his bat. He means business tonight, Kev.
He's only playing his 5th match, so plenty ahead of him, you would think. So yes, he moves on to 11 off 6, striking at 183 in this innings. 138 for 6 with 9 balls left of the Hampshire innings. Unfortunately, I think the rain may just have stopped, but it's not far away. As Allison comes in again and bowls to Albert. Hits that hard through extra cover, 4 runs past the left-hand side of Simon Harmer in extra cover.
Wow, proper cricket shot that. He's timing the ball well tonight. Toby Albert, fearless young batter, coming in, putting a performance on in front of this crowd again. 15 off 7, striking at 214. Again, remarking his foot crease. He's got that presence about him out there in the middle. And why wouldn't you if you're hitting the ball like that? What's Allison got here to reply?
142 for 6 then, 8 balls left as Allison comes in again. Right arm over, it's a length ball and it's hit hard up towards deep mid-off. Paul Walter fields, only a single this time for the 20-year-old. Albert moves on to 16, that's come off just 8 deliveries. That's what you want with your lower order batters. 143 for 6, the Hawks.
Talk about timing as well there, Kev. Even though that's gone straight to a fielder, for me, you're hitting the sweepers hard. That's a really good sign. They're putting the fielders under pressure. Toby Albert, this has been a fantastic knock so far.
Yeah. Dawson back on strike here. Allison comes in, length ball. Dawson pulls that away on the onside, doesn't really get hold of that, comes off the top of the bat, trickles out towards mid-wicket. Allison comes round on his follow-through, and that's the end of his spell. That's good bowling. 3 for 33 from his 4, and you can add a couple of catches at deep mid-wicket into that as well. Hawks 144 for 6 with 1 over left.
Yeah, just took the pace off there of that last delivery. Not allowed Dawson get hold of it. But great spell from him. He's had a great game in the field so far for Essex. 1 over remain, and here find himself out on that cover sweeper. 144 for 6 then. 6 balls remain. How many are they going to end on, Kev? Let's play a game.
Well, Wasp saying 155, so that's 11 off this over. So I'll go with Wasp.
We got Wasp versus Kev. I'm going to go...
Wasp versus Kev.
As Sam Cook takes the last. Bowls for Dawson, and that's hit through the offside. Just will find the cover sweeper for 1. Dawson to 3.
So you've got an unfair advantage now because you've only got 5 balls to make your mind up, whereas we had 6.
I'm going 162.
Okay. I say me and Wasp.
You and your best mate Wasp. It's actually Kev that puts the number on the board, guys. He makes it up as he goes. Sam Cook then charging in from the inner ring circle to Toby Albert, who's striking the ball well. Slower ball, that's hit over the offside. Fielder at cover has to come round as it skips on. He dives, but they come back for a couple. Importantly for Hampshire fans, Toby Albert keeps the strike. He's 18 off 9, still striking at 200, 147 for 6.
Ben Allison again on that cover boundary. He's been in the game a lot tonight.
He'll be hoping from an Essex point of view he can put his feet up and watch his batters knock off these runs, but from a Hampshire point of view, I'd like to see him bowl as Cook in bowls. That's hit over the offside. That's a hell of a shot. 1 bounce 4 over the point boundary. Fist pump from Liam Dawson. Toby Albert, stop it. 150 up for Hampshire.
What total did you say?
162.
God! So that they're going to hit 12 off 3.
Got to be ambitious.
No, it's just over 150. 11 off 3. Well, if Albert faces most of it, he's 1 off a career best, Albert.
22 off 10 then. Where's Sam Cook going to bowl? Half moon field again on the leg side as Cook bowls. He gives himself room. That slower ball bouncer is thrown towards the keeper. Great running from Dawson. Just be a bye.
That's a really good ball. Very, very good ball. Difficult to bowl a slow ball bouncer and get it that high.
151 for 6. 152 for 6. Liam Dawson on strike. He's got 3 off 3. 2 balls remain. I need 2 maximums if I'm going to be in the game. As Cook in bowls, and that's a player miss by Dawson. Albert comes through, thrown back to the bowler, so another bye. 153 for 6.
Some clever changes of pace here from Sam Cook.
Just 1 ball remains of the Hampshire innings. Sam Cook, the man in control. Fielder out on the cover boundary is Allison, the man of the moment for Essex. He's had a fantastic innings and a half moon. Out to our left, Sam Cook charges into Toby Albert. That's on the offside. They're going to run the first one hard. They may as well come back for 2 here. Great running by Hampshire. Toby Albert makes it comfortably. But what a fine knock that was from him to give Hampshire some momentum at the back end of the innings. 155 for 6 and the Hampshire Hawks finish. Essex Eagles will need 156 to win. Toby Albert, 25 not out off just 12 deliveries. That's a fantastic knock from him. Let's looking back at the Hampshire scorecard. Ben McDermott got out early for 2. James Vince, 44. Great knock from him, holding the innings together again. Tom Press, 30. Joe Weatherley, 38. Ross Whiteley, 4. James Fuller, 2. And again, that innings from Toby Albert, 25 off 12. Striking at 200. What a knock that was, Kev.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, you know, it's in the early days of his career. It's only his 5th match, but a career best. That's all you can do. The scoreboard actually has him down as 24. I'm not quite sure because they actually ran 2 there. So it's definitely 25 not out, and the Hampshire total is definitely 155 for 6. 2 partnerships of note for the 2nd wicket. Tom Prest and James Vince put on 49, and for the 3rd wicket, James Vince with Joe Weatherley put on 47. They were the only real partnerships, but it's not great out there. It's a bit gloomy, and the rain is still hanging around in the air. I think Essex will be fairly happy with Hampshire having won the toss, elected to bat first. Ben Allison with 3 for 33, and Matt Critchley with 3 for 25, the pick of the Essex bowlers. Hampshire finishing on 155 for 6. If you're watching on the live picture feed, myself and Emily will take a break. We'll also do the same if you're listening to us on BBC online. But if you're listening to us on all frequencies on BBC Radio Solent during this break in innings, we'll hand you back to Kane Williams. Yes, welcome back to the Ageas. The Hampshire fielders are out in the middle. The umpires are there, and the two Essex openers are as well. Earlier, we saw Hampshire reach 155 for 644 from James Vince, 38 from Joe Weatherley, and 30 from Tom Prest. And for Essex, there were 3 wickets each for Ben Allison, 3 for 33, and Matt Critchley, 3 for 25. So Essex start this game, or start their reply, needing 156. It looks like the rain in the air is keeping away for the moment. I'm Kevin James, and next to me, Southern Vipers batter Emily Windsor.
Opening up with spin then, Kev. Opening up with spin, Liam Dawson. The left arm spinner, 3 for 14, his figures down at Radlett. Essex did the same, they opened the bowling with spin also. 2 fielders out on the boundary, then a long off and a deep mid-wicket. All to play for here then at the Ageas Bowl. Light floodlights are on, crowd sitting apprehensively. And Liam Dawson stood next to the umpire, ready to take the first ball to Rossington, as that's turned into the mid-wicket gap and will just be a single to start the Essex reply. 156 to win then, Essex, 155 now. Same field in place to the other opening batter, Coochie.
Yeah, 3 for 14, Liam Dawson from his 4 overs against Middlesex at Radlett 2 nights ago. Coochie playing just his 4th game in the T20 competition, his first one this year.
Dawson to Coochie's backed away, can only find James Vince at extra cover, dot ball. Ball quickly back to the left-hand arm spinner.
Only strikes at 95, 100, Coochie. That's not very high at all.
Dawson in from the hotel end again, gives himself room. Coochie plays it up to James Fuller at long off, will just be a single, he's off the mark. 2 without loss, Essex Eagle.
Rossington, on the other hand, strikes at 140, 100.
He's on loan, isn't he, from Northants. See, Lewis McManus has the gloves. Yeah. At Northants on loan from Hampshire as Dawson bowls, bit of turn to Rossington, dot ball.
A bit quicker as well. Rossington this year striking at 145, so slightly above his career average.
Dawson in again, that's hit him on the pad, they're half appealing, outside edge in the end, a dot ball, great over this so far from Dawson, 2 from it, 1 ball remains.
He scored 64 runs though going into this game, Adam Rossington hasn't really got going this year yet.
Batting on leg stump, so he's showing Dawson all of his stumps. As Dawson in, and this time played back to him, fantastic opening over this for Hampshire. Liam Dawson, just 2 runs from it, 2 without loss then, Essex. And at the other end, I'm sure we will see Chris Wood, who tends to take that pavilion end, the left arm seamer. And it'll be interesting, Kev, if he gets some movement with the ball. He tends to early on, and we saw the Essex opening bowlers, the Essex seamers, getting some movement earlier. Conditions similar, cloud cover overhead.
I think there's a little bit for all the bowlers really, wasn't it? We saw Sam Cook and Allison get a little bit of movement, you're right. The one that got Ben McDermott out from Allison definitely swung away late as it caught the edge through to the keeper, but the spinners got something out of it as well. Critchley 3 for 25, got a bit of leg spin out of this track. There's a bit in it for whatever you bowl. Here's Wood then with his left arm seamers, and that's cracked high over mid-on by Coochie. Flat bat 6 up towards the pavilion end.
Wow.
The umpire's just waiting to have it confirmed, but I think that's gone for 6. Yeah, signals it now. What a shot that was. Flat bat over the bowler's head.
Yeah, he just sort of picked up the length early, didn't he, and put his hands through it. He wasn't holding back there. Big backswing, follows through, 6 runs.
Swings away, gets wrapped on the pad as he does so, as the ball goes out square on the offside. Goes to Mason Crane, who's back in the side at the expense of Scott Curry this evening.
All I can say is Kushi's not holding back here. Something's going to happen either way. It feels like a boundary or wicket. He charged at Chris Wood there, and just an almighty swing, and that brings a change of field. Covers coming up, and they're sending mid-wicket and deep square leg back on the boundary rope.
Wood comes in, left arm over from that pavilion end. Kushi just works that away into the covers, but no gap as it goes out. Just in front of square. He's certainly not playing like a man that only strikes at 95, but as I say, it's his early days in his T20 career. 22 years of age, playing only his 4th game, but he looks like he wants to put bat to ball.
Great tactics that was from James Vince. Yeah. Bringing up that cover field has made him try and do something different, and finds that dot ball.
2 men out deep on the leg side, thrashes away, misses that bounce outside the off stump as it goes through to McDermott. But you're right, not as happy trying to play through the covers.
No, and for me, this is where James Vince, he goes unnoticed, under the radar. His captaincy for me is phenomenal. He really reads the game well, he can preempt, he talks to his bowlers, and just by bringing that cover fielder up, all of a sudden Kushi is trying to do something different to what he successfully found that boundary open. Some great bowling from Wood.
On the line of leg stump, which wraps Kushi on the pad as it goes out on the 45 on the leg side, fielded by Toby Albert, signalled leg by, and Essex move on to 9 without loss, coming towards the end of the second.
On James Vince as well, Kev, were you surprised not to see him in the one-day squad for England?
Well, there was talk about him, maybe. Oh, actually, no, that was the Test side, wasn't it? Well, so when he played against Pakistan last year, was it the England's 2nd 11 or 3rd 11 who played in those games? I can't remember, but obviously he's not far away, is he? As Rossington plays that very late on the 45. Kushi's down there like a whippet, and he's home before the ball's even thrown in by Brad Wheel. And that is 2 overs gone, 10 without loss. They need another 146, Essex. Were you surprised?
I was actually. I just think he's a great white ball player, and I know white ball cricket in this country is so strong, and I guess we see a lot of Vince, don't we? We see him first hand, and obviously from a Hampshire fan, a Hampshire point of view, you want to see him in an England shirt, but how consistent he's been throughout this tournament as well. I know it's one-day cricket, not T20 cricket, but for me, he just is consistent in white ball cricket. It's not often you'll look at a scorecard and James Vince hasn't got many or hasn't got a start. So, yeah, a bit disappointed, but Brad Wheel into the attack, bowls, and that's hit sweetly by Rossington through the covers. The fielders, Mason Crane, chasing after that one. Great bit of work, pairing with James Fuller. Keep it to 2. Rossington will move to 4.
Used the pace of the ball there, didn't he? The Essex wicketkeeper. Brad Wheel's been quite expensive this year. His economy rate is just over 10 career-wise in his 42 matches, 8.3.
Brad Wheel charging in from the hotel end, in again to Rossington on the leg side, whipped out to that deep mid-wicket fielder, Ross Whiteley. Left armour bounces it into the keeper, McDermott. 13 without loss, chasing 156.
I think from a selfish point of view, I'm quite happy James Vince. I think Hampshire are a better side with him in it, and I think at the moment, the way our batting is, we'd be lost without him.
There's Will in bowls, that's turned into the onside. They're running this first one hard. Fielder quick to it, they're coming back for a second throw at the bowler's end. Direct hit, he would have been out. Tom pressed out there, but they come back for 2 successfully. Kushi to 9, 15 without loss, Essex.
Kushi's quite quick between the wickets, actually. I think he'll be pulling Rossington along with him a little bit. I just hope, for Kushi's sake, and maybe Rossington's, that the greasy surface doesn't see them come a cropper when they turn quickly.
Will in again, bowls, playing this outside the off stump, bit of bounce, good carry through to McDermott in his fluorescent orange gloves. 15 for none. A good day for him, Ben McDermott, getting signed in the 100. He's obviously liking it over here in England, signed for London Spirit as their overseas wild card. We saw those announced today.
Yeah, good for him. A few of the Hampshire boys there as well, aren't they? Chris Wood, I think Mason Crane's
Brad
there
Wheel,
as well. Yeah.
with ball in hand as well, as that's turned into the onside again. Tom Prest at deep square leg does the fielding. 16 without loss, Essex.
Well, did Spirit come bottom of the league, the men's league? I think they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, and it was quite surprising, really. They had a pretty decent side. Owen Morgan, for one, there, the England captain. But I feel like in those short format games, especially where the tournament's so condensed, the games come thick and fast. You've got to get some wins early. As Wheel into Rossington bowls, that's driven up to mid-off. They're going to come through for a quick single. Joe Weatherley does the fielding there. That's the end of the over then. 3 overs gone. 18 without loss. Cushy on 10. Rossington on 6.
Just ahead of Hampshire, who had 16 at this stage. So you'd already signed for the Invincibles. You're just pot hunting, aren't you? Have you not won enough trophies with the Vipers? You've got to seek a few more now.
You always got to win the trophies, Kev. No, hopefully my eyes are firmly on one trophy, and that's on Saturday, the Charlotte Edwards Cup in the final for the Vipers. Hopefully that's the one closest to me, and that's the trophy I want to get our hands on. And I think for us as well, Charlotte Edwards being a head coach, you obviously joked about it, the added pressure. We want that on Charlotte Edwards' mantelpiece.
You're only saying that because some of the Vipers are listening.
No, they're probably switched off by now.
They're all saying that's the right thing to say,
I'll probably send them to sleep. No, you've got to look at the one that's the closest, haven't you? And what an opportunity the Vipers have on Sunday. And yeah, to get the trophy on Charlotte Edwards' mantelpiece. Charlotte playing a cover drive. I feel like that's dreams come true for her.
That's for sure. Wishing them the best of luck at the weekend. Live commentary on the BBC website. Here's James Fuller from the pavilion end with his right arm quicks. I've suddenly changed him there. He doesn't need to change. He's been really good this year. Single there as it goes out on the offside to Rossington. They move on to 18 without loss at the start of the 4th. Fuller, whose economy rate this year is around about his career average. He's economy of 8 and over, and that's been pretty much where he's been in his 119 matches in T20 competitions to date, as that's driven up hard by Cushy up to mid-on. Throw comes in, and there is a single there, and Cushy moves on to 11 from 11, and it's 19 without loss.
It's like drizzle in the air again, Kev, at the moment, but no one's worried. The groundsmen certainly don't look worried. They look asleep on the hover cover down below us. It does look pretty comfy.
They do, don't they? Yeah, they've found a nice spot there. It's like one of those comfy recliners. As Fuller bowls, always gone through quickly to the keeper as Rossington's trying to drive through the covers on the up. We're seeing the ball really skid through now on this greasy surface.
McDermott taking that high above his right shoulder.
Good pace. McDermott is, what would you say there, a good 16, 17 yards back, taking that. The ball certainly wasn't dying on him either, but you're right, yeah, the rain is coming in, although again it's just sort of that sort of rain in the air. It's certainly not raining in the conventional sense as Fuller bowls, and that's pulled away. Short arm jab by Rossington out in front of square. Press comes round, slides into it, throws it. There'll be 2 there. Rossington moves on to 9. And Essex on to 21 without loss.
And I hope you can hear there on the effects mic the crowd cheering, and you can hear in the tone of voice that's a lot of young children. 2,000 school children in today supporting Hampshire. They took over the outfield before the start of play.
Bill, does the schools take over tonight? 2,000 is pretty much about right as well. Fuller comes in again, and it's driven off a thick outside edge by Rossington down towards squarish third man, where Mason Crane comes in off the boundary, and Essex move on to 22 without loss. Rossington is 10 from 12, brings Cushy back on strike. He's 11 from 11, including that one flat bat 6 back over Chris Wood's head towards the pavilion. So Wasp has an Essex win here at 74% at this stage, but it's very early days. Here's Fuller, bows him! Oh yes, the stump is out of the ground. It's a leg ball. Fuller celebrates. Cushy gave himself some room. In the end, he was nowhere near it. He was also beaten for pace. And he goes for 11, and Essex have lost their first wicket with a score on 22.
Yeah, what a delivery that was by Fuller. He jumps in the air to celebrate that one, but quick, hitting the stumps. The stump are out of the ground. Off stump that is, and middle stump is on a wonk as well.
He's on a what?
A wonk.
What's that?
Look at the stump. Wonky. I'm filling out all the new phrases today, but Kushi's gone for 11. Hampshire pick up the first wicket of the evening. 134 to win from Essex Eagles. That's 4 overs gone. 16 overs remain. Balanced start here. Hampshire at the same stage with 23 for 1. Ball skidding on quickly under the lights. A bit of moisture out there. But James Fuller continues to hold his hand up for this Hampshire side, as he has done all year in white ball cricket and red ball cricket.
Will starts his second over. First over went for 7. He's bowling to Adam Rossington on 10. Bowls, length ball. Rossington drives, and it's half stopped by a diving James Vince, I think that is, in the covers, who palms it off to Fuller. And he's got an injury here, Vince, and he's looking at his finger. Thought he might have dislocated it, but he looks all right. Took him a while to get back up, though. 23 for 1. It brings the very dangerous Michael Pepper on strike. 171 runs against his name. Brad Taylor is on.
No, he's not. He doesn't play for Hampshire anymore.
No, why is that on the live stream?
That is a throwback. But you're also taking my over here, Kev.
Oh, sorry.
But carry on.
Apologies.
Rad Will to the new batter Pepper. That's down the leg side. They're appealing. Will's appealing. And a wide ball is given.
Got carried away when I saw Brad Taylor's picture on the live stream.
24 for 1,
yeah.
Essex.
Now Pepper strikes at 151 per 100 balls this season. His career over 28 matches is 128, so that'll give you an idea about how much he's improved. And I have to say, he took the Hampshire attack apart last week at Chelmsford with 75 of 42 deliveries.
Pepper faces Will as he tries to guide that past third man. Cannot do it. Another dot ball. He's a tall batter, isn't he, Pepper? He's got long levers. Strong batter. Strong's the word for a lot of cricketers these days, isn't it? They spend a lot of time in the gym.
Yeah.
And you're seeing more and more sixes going the distance.
More and more of them can hit it now, can't they?
Brad Will scurrying in again past the bowler. Pepper advances and misses outside the off stump. McDermott tries to throw down the stumps, but Pepper would have been back in. But again, great carry, great pace from Will.
Yeah, Pepper got 50 in the last game as well. The win against Kent by 7 wickets at Chelmsford, 50 off just 24. For me, this is a dangerous partnership, and the next partnership where Matt Critchley comes in, these are the two partnerships that Hampshire really don't want to see Essex establish.
58 on his back then. Will coming in as he's gone to ramp, and that's an appeal. McDermott's appealing. Will's appealing, and the umpire has not moved. Pepper coming up, doing some gardening.
Just wondering, because that was slightly down the leg side. You do find the players appealing now when they think, oh, that might be a wide, we better appeal here.
No wide, interestingly, though, was given.
That must have been close. I know he stepped across his stumps a fraction.
3 dot balls then to Pepper so far. He's going to want to find a boundary here. Starting his innings slowly as Will in again bowls, and that's played to backward point. Another dot ball. Fantastic bowling this from Brad Will. Appreciated by this Hampshire crowd. And Vince getting right stuck into Pepper here. Almost clapping in his face.
Well, I know they were annoyed last week. I mean, him and Critchley put on 100 unbroken for the 3rd wicket off just 50 deliveries. They really did take the Hampshire attack apart, and that will have hurt.
Big ball, I feel this one. Something's going to happen. As Will in bowls, that's hit high up into the air. Fine leg is under it. Drops it. Chris Wood, that is the left armour. Just never looks set under it, and is that a big moment in the game? Pepper dropped on naught. 25 for 1 Hampshire.
Ouch. For all the reasons that I've just been outlining for the last few minutes, that is a big drop. And I just hope that doesn't come back and bite Hampshire, because that is not easy. You know, this rain is swirling around, it's in the air, but it's not easy. But
the floodlights as well are like
floodlights,
4 suns in the sky, but
he didn't have to move.
And you don't see those catches dropped too often. Should have been taken. But Wood has got a chance to make it up as he now has ball in hand to Pepper.
Pepper 1 of 5 as Wood left arm over comes in, and Pepper's playing a missing outside the off stump. I think what we're seeing here now is, as this wicket's getting a little bit more damp on the surface here, the ball's skidding through. If you bowl straight and line a length, we are seeing the batters struggle a little more. Probably, I mean, it's not been that easy all night, but I just think we're seeing it just a fraction more now. We've seen the ball go through to the keeper nicely, and we've seen the batters try and drive on the up at times and really struggle. Here's Wood, bowls, and short down the leg side. Pepper's trying to pull that away and actually pulls out of the shot knowing it's a wide, and it's signalled a wide. Just got to bowl. For me, you've got to bowl line and length, hit the deck short of a length, and I think the batters will struggle all night long now.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the danger is as well, though, when it's skidding on like this, the ball tends to skid across the outfield quicker, but if you hit that length, it is hard to score those runs.
26 for 1 Essex. Pepper gets the ball on the leg stump and just turns that away down to fine leg. They're not going to run any more than a single. Joe Weatherley fields. Yeah, of course it's going to be difficult for the fielders and the ball to pick up. The ball's going to get damper. It's going to be hard for the bowlers. But for me, you've just got to bowl line and length here and keep it arrow straight. And I just don't see the batters really taking anybody apart. Yes, if it's slightly short. Yes, if it's further up. But we'll wait and see anyway as Wood comes in. Down the wicket comes Rossington, and it's just short of Vince at mid-off, who's running round to his left. But Rossington just trying to help that ball over mid-off, didn't time that at all. That's the length ball. And that's not hitting the middle of the bat by any stretch of the imagination. As Rossington moves on to 12 of 14. 28 for 1 Essex, remember, 156 is the winning target. And we are halfway through the 6th. We are 3 balls away from completing the power play as Wood comes in again. And it's length, and it hits Pepper on the pad coming forward. Ball goes out on the offside. Crane comes in. Oh, there's an inside edge onto the pad there. So that is a run for Michael Pepper, who moves on to 3.
Do you feel that spin could be key here as well? Obviously, in this Hampshire attack, you've got Fuller, Wood and Will, the seamers, but they're going to have to bowl some spin. Dawson and obviously Crane in the side. Crane's not in the best of form, but could that be key on this skidding wicket?
I think Crane's 4-over spell, if he bowls 4 overs, could be. He's wrapped on the pad there, Rossington. The ball comes back at him. Throw gets up at the bowler's end, and oh my word, Rossington was struggling there a little bit, and I think it hurt him actually when it hit him on the top of the leg. I think that's why he struggled to run properly. I was quite surprised with the throw from Brad Wheel on the 45, how actually close it was to a run out.
Yeah, good bit of work from Brad Wheel, shying at that bowler's end.
Must be horrible trying to run when you've been hit in the leg where you feel like you can't run.
And the bruise, you feel the bruise coming.
30 for 1, Pepper back on strike. Wood was running in, stopped.
It's almost like a burn, isn't it? Sensation when that ball's hit you.
Hobbling up to the other end. It was like you on Tuesday afternoon.
I wasn't hobbling though, Kev. I just didn't run.
Gives himself some room, Pepper, and the ball goes between bat and pad as he's trying to drive there. Now there's an example for me that it is quite difficult now, and the bowlers really do just have to bowl line and length. And unless somebody absolutely plays out of their skin, then I think it'll be very difficult. Now that's a very quiet power play for Essex. 30 for 1, the 1 wicket being Feroz Kushi for 11. The power play for Hampshire, they were 38 for 1, so that's fairly quiet power plays for both sides.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see that. It's not been the easiest to get after the ball. Proper cricket shots have actually been the ones that have got the boundaries really here tonight, but the ball is skidding on, and I think this is a great move again from the captain, James Vince. Bringing Fuller, the paceman, into the attack from the hotel end, as he will come in and bowl to the right-handed Adam Rossington. Bowls, that's high up in the air, third man's back, but it's going to bounce short of Mason Crane out there, so it'll just be a single. Rossington to 13, 30 for 1, 126 to win from Essex. 14 overs to do it in.
Requiring 9 and over from here on in. Again, you know, driving the ball on the up, and there's an edge which has actually gone one bounce down to third man, so not easy. And this rain is sweeping across, even though it's sort of fine rain.
Fuller past the umpire in bowls. That's a player miss outside the off stump. Bounce and pace. I wouldn't like to be facing that too much,
That's
Kev.
quick. That really is skidding off the surface now, isn't it? Ben McDermott taking that on the up, about stomach going on towards his chest height. His considerable chest.
Pepper really struggling here. 3 off just 10 deliveries, and Rossington just taking time and pace out of the game to go and speak to his partner here. And I think that's a good maturity from him, because again, you feel like something's going to happen. Pepper is under pressure.
3 off 10.
And Fuller is going to charge in and bowl at him. That's a hit back to him. They're going to try and come through for a quick single. Fuller knocks the bat out of Rossington's hand, and you see him charge through to the keeper. Fuller's not even going to apologise. He's just walking back to his mark, and Pepper picks up his partner's bat. 32 for 1.
It's like running a shuttle, isn't it? When you've got no bat in your hand, that'll feel weird. But again, it's a length ball, isn't it? You know, I think the batters, I guess, they've had a chat there saying, look, use the pace of the ball a little bit more. It's difficult forcing it down the ground, hitting it on the up.
Fuller to Rossington, that's high in the air. Fielder is under this. Dawson is going back and takes the catch. Fuller on one knee. The celebration we've seen so often as Hampshire fans this year. Fuller takes another wicket, 32 for 1, and Rossington is gone for 13. 32 for 2. I wondered what you were doing. I thought you were doing peace to me there, Kev.
17 balls for 13 for Adam Rossington. No boundaries in his innings, and again you see he's trying to force it. I just don't think in these conditions at this time of night, with this rain above us that's just hanging around in the air and just descending, it's not uncomfortable, because all the crowd are still sitting in exactly the same places they've been sitting during the game, but out there over a period of time the wicket will be greasy. We're seeing the ball fizz through. And I think the batter's trying to force it down the ground. I just don't think at the moment that's the way to play, not unless you get in.
You can tell by the field as well, James Vince has set it. He's actually putting a slip in for the Hampshire going aggressive here, but Vince feels most vulnerable behind square of the wicket. That's where his boundary fielders are, and trying to force the batters to hit over the top as Fuller comes into the new batter, Critchley, and that's played sweetly. That's perfect timing. But the fielder comes round. Out on the boundary rope, Weatherley, but they're good running. They come back for 2. Critchley off the mark, 34 for 2.
So that's using the pace, isn't it? Fraction behind the square is using the pace of Fuller, and that's the right way to play, especially early on in your innings. He's striking at 150 this year as well, Matt Critchley, with an overall career strike rate of 122, so he's improved on that this summer.
Fuller coming in as Mason Crane warming up on the third man boundary. Bowls, that's a fast Yorker at his toes. Played nicely by Critchley, just a single as Ross Whiteley does the fielding out on the boundary rope. That's 7 overs gone then. 35 for 2, Essex Eagles. They require another 121 to win off 13 overs. And I think we are going to see some leg spin into the attack here, Kev. Yeah. Mason Crane.
Yeah, this is quite crucial. Isn't it really? He's not having the best of seasons in this competition, is Mason Crane. His economy rate is the most expensive of the Hampshire bowlers. It's getting on for 13, whereas overall in his career, in fact it's almost double what he is in his career. So this could be quite a crucial. Well, it depends how many overs James Vince wants out of him, but if he gets the whole 4, then this could be...
It's not going to be easy out there either, where it is a bit wet, so gripping the ball is going to be tricky.
It will be, and for me, this is the most partnership that Hampshire need to worry about. It's slightly short, and it's cut away by Critchley. It's gone behind point, and they'll pick up 2. That's Whiteley out there, running round to his left. The fielders will love sliding on this outfield. It's quite easy to do.
You keep going though, Kev. That's the issue. You've got to time your dive, because if you go too early, you're sliding passable. And if you keep going, you're over the boundary rope with the ball in hand, which is why Whiteley let it go there. But it's all good fun.
37 for 2 then. Critchley's 5 off 3. Here's Crane again from the pavilion end. Slog sweep by Critchley out along the ground to deep mid-wicket for a single. And Two balls into the 8th over. Essex are 38 for 2 here. Chasing, of course, that total of Hampshire's of 155 for 6. It brings Pepper back on strike. 4 off 11. As Crane bowls, he hits it in the air through extra cover, and that's going to be 6, is it? Yeah. Oh, now I think that might just be 6. It's a long way away, and the umpire is signalling. He's waiting. He's waiting. Is the umpire? He's waiting for the confirmation from the fielder. It's 6. Just gone over the rope, and Pepper looks like already he's targeting Mason Crane.
You do that, don't you? As the rain is coming down a little heavier here now. You see in the floodlights as you look after. You know, you're well aware of a player when they're not in form, and as opposition, you're going to target them.
Oh, he hits it back to Crane. He's caught and bowled, and Pepper goes a soft dismissal. He's trying to work it away on the leg side, and the ball came off a thick outside leading edge, and it just looped to Mason Crane. And I don't think anybody on this field is more relieved than the leg spinner himself. And the dangerous Michael Pepper has gone for 10, and Essex are 44 for 3.
Yeah, you could see how much that one meant to Mason Crane. Big moment for him, picking up a wicket, and sometimes that's all you need, Kev. You need just that one wicket, that bit of confidence, and he will get back into a rhythm. He's a fantastic cricketer. He's a fantastic leg spin bowler. And for him personally, I really hope this allows him to kick on tonight and really show this Hampshire team what he's made of.
Yeah, he may not have played tonight had Nathan Ellis been fit. He's still got a niggle that kept him out of the game on Tuesday night, and I'm told that he's a doubt for tomorrow at Cardiff as well. And Mason Crane, is he going to make the most of this opportunity? 44 for 3 then, Essex. They still need another 112. And it is Paul Walter, the left-hander, the new batter in. He cuts it away, and there's a half shout for a caught behind. Not convincing from McDermott. Vince at mid-wicket also had his arms up, but he didn't touch it on this occasion. 44 for 3. Crane, 1 ball left of his first over, 1 for 9. And Vince comes across to the offside as Crane bowls. Oh, he's wrapped on the pad there as it goes out on the offside, probably an inside edge onto the pad. Good diving stop there from Dawson at point. And Mason Crane, quite deservedly, gets a round of applause. He's quite a confident young man anyway, but I'm sure inside that's been a big help, that over.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the captain, James Vince, as well. You can see that meant a lot to him. Getting the trust back of your captain's really important, especially in short format cricket. You want Mason Crane to hold his hand up and say, I'm going to bowl you a big over here and take wickets, which is what he's done in a Hampshire shirt. And his quality has not come away, that's for sure. Hopefully, it's the start of a good performance for him tonight, and we're going to see spin from both ends. We haven't seen that much so far in the Blast. The spin twins back working together, Dawson and Crane.
It hasn't been quite going, does it, as a pairing? We'll keep an eye on Duckworth-Lewis, of course, because the rain does look as though it's a fraction harder. 62 Essex need to be at this stage. They're 44 for 3.
Left arm Dawson in bowls, and that's pushed up to mid-off by Critchley. Come through for a single. He moves to 7, 45 for 3 Essex. Require 156 to win. It's not going to be easy here by any means. 11.5 overs remain. It's drizzle in the air. Ball is skidding on off the seamers. There's a little bit of turn for the spinners.
This is difficult for Essex, isn't it? Because they've got to keep an eye on the Duckworth-Lewis, because if we were to stop now, they've lost the game. We've got a game on. 5 overs is a game. We're into the 9th.
Dawson into Walter bowls. That's played up to mid-off again. Just come through for a single, the left-handed Walter. He's off the mark. 46 for 3. And when it gets like this, Kev, it's almost a game within a game, isn't it? Because actually Essex could think, OK, we're going to go off soon. I'm going to put my foot down. They may lose wickets regularly, but actually get above the Duckworth-Lewis rate and win the game. So it's a game within a game when there's rain in the air. Cricket's not complicated enough. When we add in Duckworth-Lewis, it adds even more. As Dawson bowls, advances. Critchley played up to the long off fielder, James Fuller, with a rocket arm back in to the keeper, McDermott. Just pick up a single, 47 for 3.
Paul Walter's having a half-decent season with the bat in this competition. Came into this game with 100 runs, striking at 133. That's around about his career. Playing tonight his 67th T20 game. Hampshire are just, I don't know if they're just delaying things here at the moment, knowing that perhaps
they're ahead of the race. Falling, getting a towel from their teammate Chris Wood to dry the ball.
They've got to be careful. They've got to bowl their overs, assuming we keep playing, which we might do. They've got to bowl their overs by 9:45, and we are coming up to 9:05.
It's past my bedtime, Kev. They can't go on much later than that. There's Dawson, left arm over to the left-handed. That's hoiked up to the long-on boundary. Walter moves to 2, 48 for 3. As the rain really is falling, it's that drizzly kind of rain. The crowd aren't moving. There's still a lot of children here supporting Hampshire.
Yeah, it's good that they're not moving, but I have had a message from the crowd to say that it's actually its worst at the moment than it's been at any stage tonight.
Source on the ground, Kev.
You
have sources everywhere.
Everywhere.
Ticket office, on the ground.
Absolutely everywhere, even in that inflatable at the top of the hill.
I'd love to see you on that, Kev. I feel like that's a goal for me at the end of this T20 Blast. As Dawson in, bowls, that's high in the air. Is there a fielder going to get under it? No, they don't. Mason Crane comes round. Short third man, sorry, Toby Albert, and they come through for a single.
It's a wicked bounce, spin off the ground. He did well there, keeping his eye on that. Single off every ball.
One ball remains. The 9th over. Duckworth Lewis sitting at 67. Essex Eagles 49 for 3. The umpires are just looking at each other. And Dawson slowing the pace of this game down. You can really tell they're playing on this a little. Just getting his field right, moving the field round as Dawson in to Walter, who advances, hits that down the ground. Will be fielded by Brad Will, the right arm seamer. Just a single, 50 up then for Essex. So that's 50 for 3 after 8 overs at the same stage. Hampshire were 59 for 1. The key only being 1 wicket down.
Is it 9 overs gone?
Maybe 9. It's definitely 9 actually.
9, yeah, 9. Hampshire had 62 at this stage. So I think the scoreboard done you there a little bit. Because it nearly did me there as well. So Hampshire have got 11 overs to bowl, assuming we keep going here in 40 minutes. Just under. Mason Crane with his second over, and oh, that's very nearly a caught and bowled there as Walter was trying to work that on the onside, and there was a slight leading edge. He's just getting a little bit of grip there, Mason Crane, even though this surface is greasy. First over went for 9, picked up a wicket as well. Here's his next delivery as it's wrapped on the pad there. Walter, who's trying to flick it away on the leg side. 2 dot balls. Skids
on as well, isn't it? It's really, really tricky. That's a ball that's on your pads, slightly short of the length, but he's still managed to mistime that, Walter. It's not easy out there to bat.
If we were to go off now, Essex are 20 runs short, according to Duckworth Lewis, as Walter works that away on the onside, but it's along the ground. Should only be a single if it's picked up cleanly by Ross Whiteley, which it is. Throws it in, 1 bounce to Ben McDermott. And Walter moves on to 5. The Essex, moves on to 4. Essex total 51 for 3, halfway through the 10th.
Great to see a smile on Mason Crane's face as well there on the stream. Nice little spell this so far.
Yeah, I think he knows that it's coming out of the hand a little better tonight, which is good to see. You would think the conditions were totally against him, but so far so good. As he comes in on bowls, and it's a quicker one that skids off the surface, and Critchley trying to work it away on the onside, doesn't get it at all out of the middle of the bat, and the ball goes back to Crane.
Crowd behind him as well. You hear the ripple of applause, appreciating just the one off his 4 deliveries so far this over.
51 for 3 here, Essex. As Crane bowls, it's full outside the off stump, driven hard to extra cover. Throw comes into Ben McDermott, but Walter's quickly through, running to the danger end. And Essex move on to 52 for 3. Duckworth Lewis showing 73 at the moment. The rain's no harder. I think if it stays like this, Emily, unless it gets worse, we're just going to play all the way through this. I don't think it'll be very particularly pleasant for the players, probably not particularly pleasant for the crowd. Oh, he goes for the big hit, and that is a big hit over mid-wicket. And that is a good 10 rows back into the Shane Warne stand. That's come out the middle of the bat from Walter, who used his feet well, got to the pitch of it, and just hit through the line.
Yeah, good shot that is from him using his feet. Ball turning in towards the left-handed Paul Walter. Long levers, tall man, and he got hold of that one.
Well, the good news is, even with that 6, there was only 8 off that over, which actually is still a very good over. And Essex is still behind on the Duckworth Lewis.
The required run rate, should we go 20 overs, is just 9.8, so that Hampshire still win that over. Looking at small margins. James Fuller coming back into the attack, the Hampshire paceman. Bowled 2 overs for 10 runs so far and picked up 2 wickets. Rossington and Cushy, the openers. As Fuller in bowls, that's on the leg side, whipped nicely through mid-wicket. That's going to skid on. The fielder comes round. Ross Whiteley cannot stop despite a fantastic diving effort. 4 runs to Critchley. He moves to 14 off 10, 62 for 3, Essex Eagles.
Just a fraction too full, wasn't it? It allowed Critchley to hit through the line of the ball without really taking a risk. Just 6 inches or a foot too full there. Just needs to be length here. When Fuller's bowled length, it's proved very difficult to hit.
Dawson again using the umpire, throwing it to the umpire to have a look at, probably because it's getting a little bit wet, and the umpire just says, thank you, I'll throw it back.
I imagine it's getting a little big in the hand now, isn't it?
In comes Fuller then. Bowls, and that's hit over the offside. There's a fielder out there. Cry of catch it, taken! Critchley is gone, and Fuller picks up yet another wicket for Hampshire. Big wicket as well. Critchley in form for Essex, 62 for 4 now. Hampshire right on top here at the Ageas Bowl.
Joe Weatherley with a catch, I think it was there, and it wasn't easy at all. He had to come in from the deep cover boundary, and he took it about knee height. And that, for me, is another danger man out for Essex. They always worried, especially on last week's showing against Hampshire. For me, Pepper and Critchley were the real worries. If I could say that properly, they'd be even more of a worry. But Critchley has gone for 14, Pepper's already gone for 10. And I think Hampshire will be mighty relieved after what those two did to them last week at Chelmsford. They'll be glad to see them back in the pavilion. Yeah,
not easy for the Essex Eagles batters here. Pitch skidding on nicely, rain in the air. Hampshire spinners and seamers are making it tough for Essex, but Fuller's picked up 3 of the 4 wickets. Crane has got the other one. But Hampshire look really on it tonight.
What a difference that Fuller's making to both the Championship side and the T20 side, because he's bowling consistently.
Fuller into Wesley bowls, and that's played to Vince at cover. They come through for a quick single. Wesley off the mark. Very experienced cricketer is Wesley. Coming in at 6 for Essex. Unusual.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing his 99th T20 game this evening, but he strikes career-wise 129, which is not too bad actually. It's not too shabby. But actually, this season he's striking at 110, so he's a bit below.
So Fuller coming round the wicket to the long-levered Paul Walter. As he bowls, gives himself room. He's got hold of that. That's superb fielding. A backward point there. I think that's Toby Albert in there.
That was motoring.
That was out the middle, wasn't it?
Went for the Yorker, just overdid it, Fuller.
He looks at his hand as well. It's one of those, don't rub it. No one saw me look at my hand there, but that's got to have hurt. Pace on the ball. And Walter trying to use that. As Fuller again at the top of the mark from the hotel end, comes in to Walter. That's play and miss outside the off stump. They're appealing. McDermott's appealing. Fuller's not interested. Hands on head. And back to the difference Fuller's making to this Hampshire side. Confidence as well must be massive for him at the moment. Previously he's sort of been in and out the Hampshire side, hasn't he, previous seasons, but this is the longest run he's had in both the red ball competition and white ball competition in the first team, and that's got to make a difference if you've got backing of your coach and captain.
Definitely. He's a changed man this year.
Fuller bowls, Walter drives, and that beats a diving extra cover. Brad Wheel in there. Whiteley comes round with a slide again. And he can't stop sliding, so they come through for a couple. Walter to 12. 65 for 4. 9 overs remain then. 91 to win. Hampshire have picked up 4 wickets so far. Fuller getting the first one, Rossington for 13. Gouchy for 11, again by Fuller. Mason Crane caught and bowled. The batting of Michael Pepper and Matt Critchley for 14. Again, James Fuller. He's bowled 3 overs for 17 and picked up the 3 wickets.
Yeah, terrific stuff. Duckworth-Lewis showing 84 currently. And the umpires are having a chat, not about the weather, but the ball. So maybe that ball is expanding the whole time. It'll be very wet out there.
The most interesting thing is James Vince has run off to go and get the boxer balls before the umpires have made the decision. He's saying, umpires, lads, we're changing this ball here. He's got the spare balls in his hand, and I think Vince has taken authority here of what one to pick rather than the umpires.
Hampshire have got 32 minutes now to bowl 9 overs. So this won't be helping while we wait for the ball to be changed. So they might have to be mindful. 65 for 4. I think you lose a fielder or something every over that you don't complete in the top.
Yeah, so rather than penalise runs, it's your fielder has to come in the circle, so you lose boundary fielders.
Yeah, I didn't know that rule until it happened the other day.
It's not like you not to know the rules, Ken.
I hardly know any of them. But the good thing is that slowly but surely I find them out. It's just that by the end of the season I'm still way behind where I should be. Mason Crane to bowl his 3rd over. He has 1 for 17 and he's bowling to Tom Wesley, who's on 1, the right-hander, and Wesley just angles that ball behind square on the offside. Wheels round quickly, but not quickly enough. As Essex move on to 66 for 4 with Duckworth-Lewis showing 85. The rain is still in the air, sweeping around the ground, but it's never really got heavy, has it? It's never actually, actually dropped. It's just sort of sweeping around. It's fine rain. As Walter goes big in the air, but I'm not sure it's big enough. 2 fielders are coming in. They're not quite there. Desperate attempt from deep mid-wicket. Is that Whiteley?
Yeah.
Not quite there. He was never quite going to be there, but he tried his best. No doubt aided by a slippery outfield where you know you're going to slide along anyway. He looks good. Feels good. 67 for 4, but Walter aiming for that boundary again where he's already hit Mason Crane for 6, got right underneath that one. But it's Wesley back on strike, 67 for 4. Here's Crane from the pavilion end, bowls, Wesley's on the back foot, turns that on the leg side, across comes Mason Crane, but it's only a single. They'll need a bit more than that at the moment, Essex. They move on to 68 for 4. Wesley has 3 from 3, Walter 13 from 13.
Yeah, this is the type of rain as well. If they haven't gone off at the start for it, they can't go off now.
No, they're going to keep going, aren't they? You can just feel it. Walter hits that around off stump, out deep, where Prest does the fielding, away to our left. 69 for 4 now. Duckworth-Lewis showing 88. Remember, Essex need 156 if they are to win this game. Here's Crane again. Much improved performance from the Hampshire leg spinner tonight so far as Wesley works that away, but it's only a single out to deep mid-wicket this time. Looks like Walter is the one that's potentially going to do the most damage, with the required run rate from here on in just edging now around 10.5 and over.
They need 86 or 49 balls, don't they? That's by all means doable, which is why I think a partnership's key here for Essex.
It is. Left-hander Walter comes down the wicket and hits that hard to Earl's extra cover. That's a great stop there, James Vince. Wasn't quite sure where the ball was. It was right underneath him, but he saved a certain 4 because Walter hit that hard. He'll keep the strike. 15 off 15. The batters are drawing 100 runs per 100 balls because Wesley's 4 off 4. 71 for 4. There is 8 overs left here at the Ageas Bowl. Emily Windsor and Kevin James with you, taking you through this match. We're on all frequencies, BBC Radio Solent, BBC Sport Online, and also on the live picture feed.
Yeah, from an Essex point of view, if they can build a partnership, that will give them a platform to have something in the tank to go at the end. But if they keep losing wickets, Hampshire are going to stay on top. And actually it will put Hampshire under pressure, especially looking at this cut-off time as well, which is only in 30 minutes to bowl 8 overs. They need to... Hampshire need to break this partnership. They need to take these wickets, because if they end up having to have fielders in the circle towards the back end, Essex can go with wickets in hand, and these two by no means can strike some boundaries. So wickets needed still for Hampshire as Liam Dawson into the left-handed water. That's heaved up towards James Fuller at the long on boundary. Walter will move to 16. 72 for 4. 84 to win off 47 balls.
Yeah, they've been given a couple of minutes, I think, with a change of ball, because it's 21:48 now, the cut-off time. So you're right, it's exactly half an hour from here. It was about 42:43, 21:43 initially. Went to about 45. It's been extended again.
Dawson just getting the angles of his field right. 5 fielders outside the circle, 3 of them on the leg side boundary as he bowls, and that finds James Vince, the captain, at extra cover, who's sliding about there. The dot ball. I don't think we're going to be seeing many fielders on their feet for too long.
I don't know who's washing the kit tonight, but they've got their work cut out.
Do they get their kit washed, or do they wash it at home?
I don't know what happens these days. I used to have to wash it at home. Might have all changed since then.
Liam Dawson then left arm round the wicket into Wesley bowls. That's cut out to the cover sweeper. Tom Prest out there will do the fielding, just a single. Wesley to 5, 73 for 4.
Do you guys have to wash your own kit?
Yeah, of course we do. Of course we do. I've actually got holes in my trousers as well.
Have you?
And only one pair at the moment, so that doesn't look good, does it?
Who does your sewing?
Well, it's definitely not something I could do. I'll probably sew my finger to my trouser leg. 83 off 45 needed then. 4 wickets down, Essex in chase. Floodlights on, drizzle in the air. As Dawson bowls, Water gives him room, and that finds James Vince at mid-wicket this time. Great dot ball. And Vince enjoys that one. He could hit that anywhere, couldn't he, Kevin? He finds the captain in the ring where he can't get a single.
He's had too much time to hit that. Dawson deliberately bowled it in short, didn't he?
Dawson, and again varying his pace, bowls outside off stump this time, slightly slower. Finds Chris Wood at short third man. There's no run call from his partner Wesley. Great over again this from Dawson, applauded by the crowd. Just 2 runs from it. 1 ball remains. But the ball has to go back to Vince, the captain, to dry it. As there's drizzle in the air. Dawson, 1 hand in his pocket, just strolling back to his mark. Casual as you like from Liam Dawson.
Yeah, the spinners have been difficult to get away tonight, haven't they? Critchley 3 for 25 from 4, the leg spinner. I mean, Harmer was slightly expensive, none for 31 off 4.
Dawson bowls, that's heaved up towards long off. Is that going to be taken on? Misfield from Mason Crane. That was a tough one. It was a half volley really at his feet. Wasn't sure whether to go for the catch or stop the boundary. But 4 runs to finish Dawson's over. Dawson not happy with that one and letting his fielder know Mason Crane was the man there. But Walter moves to 20, 77 for 4. 7 overs remain.
That's an awkward one, isn't it, really, because it was hit flat and hard by Walter, and Crane knew that it was going to bounce just in front of him. He had no chance of getting up to take it on the full, and it's one of those on a night where the ball is skidding off the turf. That's a really difficult one. I can understand Liam Dawson not being particularly happy, but I can also understand the ball going through the fielder as well. I think it's one of those at 6 and 1, half a dozen the other. Not easy conditions as we get through this game. 77 for 4 then. Duckworth Lewis showing 97 is where Essex should be if we stop. Now Wesley goes big into the night sky, over deep mid-wicket, over Prest's head, and that's 6 runs. Big hit away to the left-hand side here at the Ageas Bowl.
This is what's dangerous here, Kev, isn't it? When they build a bit of platform, they can put their foot down and go. Hampshire need to be careful here. Duckworth Lewis at 98, they're not too far off it at this stage, Kev.
Slowly but surely, aren't they? They're knocking these runs off.
73 off 41.
As as you said earlier, it's doable, but it'll still need some more hitting like that if Essex are to win this game. Wesley moves on to 11 off 7 as Crane bowls, and Wesley pulls that away, not timed, as it goes out to deep mid-wicket. And in off the boundary comes Joe Weatherley, and Essex move on to 84 for 4, and the rain still, the light rain still swirling around this stadium. The crowd don't look too fussed about it, the players don't look too fussed about it, but it's been like this for quite a while. Not the best of conditions.
I don't know if I'd rather be batting or fielding at this stage, Kev.
I think I'd rather be where we are, in the dry. Crane bowls, Walter cuts that away hard, past Vincent, extra cover, and that's 4 runs. Went for the googly there, Mason Crane. He just dragged it down a little bit, and it allowed Walter to flat back that hard on the offside. Moves on to 20, does Paul Walter. In fact, 24, I tell a lie, that's off 20 balls. 88 for 4 at Essex. Duckworth Lewis, though, as long as that stays ahead, then Hampshire will be okay, but it's showing 100 currently.
This is a danger with the wet. The ball really skid on there. As soon as it beat James Vince at extra cover, there was no one that was stopping that. 68 off 39. It's getting tight here, Kev, it's getting tight.
It is. Crane's just getting ever so slightly more expensive. It's gone for 34. As he comes in and bowls to the left-hander Walter. Walter comes down the wicket and he drives it up to Vince, who does well moving to his right, but it will be a single, and Essex move on to 89 for 4. Crane coming towards the end of his 4 overs. Still a good spell, but the last couple of overs have been more expensive. 12 off this one so far as Emily Windsor does some strange exercises to my right. As that's down the offside, and he cuts and he misses, and Ben McDermott standing up takes it. What are you doing there?
Just stretching my hip.
Is it feeling a bit tight?
Yeah, I feel like hit a few too many balls. I'm not used to hitting balls, and I hit a fair few today, which
not used to batting.
Nice.
Here comes Crane, bowls, and Wesley's on the back foot there, and almost, or did he edge it through to Ben McDermott, who didn't take it cleanly? I don't know. Crane's got his hands on his head. It's a dot ball anyway. 14 overs gone here. We have 6 overs left. Essex are 89 for 4. With Walter on 25 from 21. Wesley has 12 from 10. Here we go.
Here we go. Ba, ba, ba.
A bit late there, the crowd. 67 needed off 36 deliveries.
Conversations there from 3 senior players on the pitch as Sweet Caroline rings in our ears. T20 Blast is firmly on the road when you hear that. James Vince, Liam Dawson, Chris Wood with a 3 having the conversation. 3 T20 senior players. There's Dawson again showing the umpire the ball. It looks like he's going to be bowling because there's no one else around, but he still does have his hat on.
Well, this ball is just going to get wet after every over, so I think we could see this happening time after time. After 14 overs, Hampshire had 107 for 2. James Vince was out in the 15th, so Essex at 89 for 4 are still behind. They're behind on the Duckworth Lewis at 104. Here we go again. I don't think we're going to have time for this, are we?
Come on, Kev, sing it now. Mike Shy. The crowd certainly aren't. They're enjoying that. There's Liam Dawson into Walter, who gives himself room, finds mid-wicket. James Vince again. Dot ball from him. This is his final over, Liam Dawson. Just gone for 14 runs so far, not picked up a wicket. So that conversation would have been about timing, who he bowls when, because this is going to be ever important at the death. But they're getting rid of their spin overs early as Dawson in. Walter advances, that's high up into the sky. Fielders are under it, there's 3 of them. Press calls it and misjudges it. Another catch down for Hampshire. He didn't even get a hand to it in the end, and Dawson,
wow,
looking ever disappointed at his fielders there.
I think Prest was further away from that at the end than he was when he started. Got that totally wrong, didn't he? But he did go a long way up. I mean, that was a long, long way in the night sky.
And the rain is swirling, so the ball is also swirling, but a couple of mistakes here from Hampshire. Hopefully it won't be costly for them, but Essex can build off this. Walter got 2 from that delivery. 65 needed from 34. Walter, 27 off 23, is on strike. Dawson bowls, that's heaved, and that's to Prest again. He takes the catch. Throws the ball high into the air. Thankfully for Hampshire, it's not costly, and Dawson very much deserves a wicket here. He's picked up his first of the night. Walter gone for 27, 91 for 5. That was a big breakthrough for Hampshire.
Yeah, he'll be a relieved man there. Well, I think either will. Prest or Liam Dawson. I think Dawson's probably felt himself a little bit unlucky with 1 or 2 of the bits of fielding that we've seen off his bowling in the last couple of overs or so. 24 balls with 2 4s and a 6 for Paul Walter. That has to be a big hit. That's the slightly larger boundary away to our left. It has to be a big hit to get it over the rope. And that is a very, very good catch too, and an important one as well. As Paul Walter, out of the 2 batters that were out there at the time, looked like the one that could win it for Essex. But they've still got a lot to do.
They certainly do, and Prest enjoyed that one on the replay after making the mistake the ball before. And it looks like Prest is also warming up on the boundary. Either that or giving a signal to the children, giving them a wave on the boundary, who are actually smashing into the advertising boards, enjoying this one. There's a new batter, the captain, Harmer, to the crease. Simon Harmer, right-handed batter as Dawson bowls, and that's played up towards mid-on, will just be a single.
Strikes at 127, Simon Harmer, which is good. But
not good enough for you?
Well, Walter strikes it at 132, so I mean, I think there you can already see that, you know, you get rid of one that strikes at 132 and another one comes in who strikes lower. That's got to be good, isn't it?
That's what you'd expect with a batting order, hey?
Yeah.
Liam Dawson then left arm round to Wesley bowls outside the off stump, hit up towards James Filler at long off. They're running the first one hard. There was a fumble where the ball was slipping out there, but they don't come back for a second. Wesley to 13 off 11. 64 off 32 needed for Essex. Again, very doable, but they keep losing wickets, and the new batter has to get into a rhythm. As Dawson drying the ball in his shirt. Still rain in the air, drizzle in the air, but the crowd have really stuck it out, including the children to our left, making a lot of noise as Dawson bowls, and that's played back to him in defence from Harmer. Round of applause from this Hampshire crowd. He's bowled his 4 overs, 1 for 35. Fantastic spell from Dawson and appreciated by his teammates. 5 overs remain.
18 he's gone for. It's Crane that went for 35.
18. I can't read now either.
No, that's all right. No, you're looking at it through the rain. It does distort the figures somewhat. Great couple of games from Liam Dawson, following up his 3 for 14 at Radley on Tuesday night, and a terrific spell where the Hampshire bowlers are trying to keep the Essex batters down. And 1 for 18 from 4 from Hampshire's premier left-arm spinner. Fantastic effort from him.
63 from 30 required for Essex. The seamers are going to come back into the attack for Hampshire here. The ball was skidding on earlier. It was carrying when they were hitting that hard length. It's hard to hit the ball down the ground to find the boundary. So again, Vince setting his field accordingly. Most of the fielders square or behind the bat.
So Brad Wheel, 2 overs for 10. Economical for half his allotted overs. So 5 overs needed, as Emily says. 63 to win. Duckworth Lewis is showing 113 at the moment as Wheel bowls, and that's driven out towards extra cover. That's a good stop, and there's no run. It's gone too quick to the fielder, and that is Liam Dawson. Still in the game, Liam Dawson.
He always is, isn't he? He's a real competitor for Hampshire, and he's played fantastically well tonight. 4 overs for 18, 1 wicket.
He loves these situations, doesn't he? Here's Will, right arm over from the pavilion end, bowling to Tom Wesley. And Wesley swings, doesn't time it, but it goes up to mid-on. They run the first one quickly, unless that's a misfield, that'll only be a single. That's all it is. And who's fielding up there? It's not James Vince, is it?
James Fuller.
Oh, James Fuller. There's a couple of the Hampshire fielders who've got towels, white towels, hanging out their backsides, and he's one of them. 94 for 5 then. And we are one ball short of being halfway into over number 16. Remember, 156 is the Essex winning target. Duckworth Lewis showing 115. I don't think we're going off at all, no matter what's happening with the rain. And that's a lovely drive there from Harmer, but again it's gone up to mid-on. Fuller comes round, slides, almost goes too far. There's the example of what you were saying earlier. He slided too quickly and almost overran it. He did well. Harmer picks up 2 though.
You got your skinny trousers on and the rain just keeps carrying you. I'm so glad he's done that. I'm so glad he stopped that as well.
Normal conditions, you'd slide into that and that would be sort of around your thigh, but actually he's gone past it and he's had to take it back past his head. 96 for 5, here's Will to Harmer. Harmer gets a length ball, angles it to point. They'll get a single. Scott Curry is on, the substitute fielder for Hampshire. Somebody's off. Is Joe Weatherly off?
I feel like it's Joe Weatherly's just under us.
Oh, no,
I think it's Chris Wood off the
Chris
field.
Wood off.
Oh no, he's down here. Not Chris Wood.
Anyway, somebody's off. 97 for 5, Wesley back on strike. 14 from 13 for Essex right-hander. Wasp is only showing 9% here, Essex win, which has gone rapidly down. Wesley swings that away, past point, but it'll only be a single because it's Whiteley out there on the boundary, and he's got it in quickly, and he's done well. And Essex move on to 98 for 5 with Wesley on 15, brings Harmer back on strike, and Will has 1 ball left of his over, and there'll be 4 overs to do after this. Duckworth Lewis is showing 119, so Essex have always been pretty much behind while this rain has been falling. I say falling, it's been swirling, it hasn't really been falling. It's light rain, and it's been pretty consistent. As he's wrapped on the pad there, Harmer, who was going down the leg side, but the ball ricochets down towards short third man. Good delivery there from Wheel to finish off that over. 16 gone, 4 overs to do. Essex at 99 for 5 here. Still need another 57.
Yeah, atmosphere building. Listening on BBC Radio Solent across all frequencies online, BBC app, and of course on the live picture feed for Hampshire Cricket. Down to the final stage is 57 of 24 balls.
Let's hope it's not 28. Be a few wides and no balls if it was.
4 overs remain. James Fuller's going to bowl his last here. He, again, for me, pick of the bowlers. 3 overs for 17, 3 wickets so far. Bowling with good pace, good control.
I'm told by the ever-reliable Joe on the ground, it's Toby Albert that went off.
Fuller bowls, and that's played through the offside. That's over point. Fielder comes round, and that's 4 runs. That's not how Fuller wanted to start this over, but that's 4 runs to Harmer, using the pace Fuller offers. Essex Eagles 100 is up.
Bit of width there, wasn't it? Bit of a loosener there from James Fuller, just having a look at his front foot there. I can imagine that these slippery conditions have got a little bit worse over the last few overs. Ball not probably feeling that great in the hand. Just got to grit your teeth and just get yourself through it. Fuller's done a good job up until now. Needs good over here to keep Essex behind.
53 of 23 then. Fuller bowls, and that's bowled him! Off stump, out the ground, yet again for James Fuller this evening. 4 for 21 his figures so far, and Harman is gone for 8 of 6 deliveries. Essex 103 for 6.
Stump out the ground, which is always good to see from a bowler's point of view, and 8 of 7 deliveries with 1 boundary for the Essex captain. James Fuller, what a transformation for him in both forms of the game so far this season.
And I actually listened to an interview. It was on. It's actually called Teammates. The Hampshire Cricket put it out, and they asked Anira and Donald who the hardest trainer was in the Hampshire dressing room, and they actually said James Fuller. And my, is that paying off on the field for Hampshire this season? James Fuller has been reliable for Vince to go to, and not often has he said that in previous years. So credit to Fuller, the hard work is paying off, and Hampshire really reaping the rewards.
I think Graham Welsh, the bowling coach, should take a lot of credit as well. James Fuller has never been consistent since he joined Hampshire. Wasn't really consistent at Gloucestershire or at Middlesex. This season, he's different.
Here we go then, Fuller, round the wicket to the left-hander Najjar, and that's hit in the air. That's going to be 4 runs though. What a way to come to the crease from Najjar. 4 off the first ball, through extra cover, 4 runs.
It's not a bad start, is it? Gosh. Found the gap. It was catchable height, but he did find the gap between mid-off and extra cover.
49 from 21 required for Essex. It's getting closer, Kev.
Well, I mean, they're not out of it, are they? I mean, Duckworth Lewis is showing 126. I mean, they are behind, but they're not out of it.
Fuller in, bowls, that's hit hard this time through the offside. Whiteley's got some work to do, great bit of work. Keeping that to a single is absolutely phenomenal from Whiteley there, throwing the ball in on the floor, and the crowd enjoyed that one.
He was still sliding when he threw that in.
48 off 20. Fuller's got 2 balls left of this fantastic spell. Picked up 4 wickets so far. Rossington, Kuski, Critchley and Harmer are the 4 men in his pocket tonight. As Fuller in to Tom Wesley, bowls, and that's hit outside the off stump. Good pace, full. Player missed, dot ball for Hampshire.
Here's that length ball, isn't it? It's difficult to hit through the line. Essex have literally, they've got to force it a little bit, but that's not an easy ball to be hitting down the ground.
48 off 19. The crowd crying Hampshire as Fuller into Wesley bowls. That's hit down the ground, that's hit hard. The fielder will not get there. 4 more runs to Wesley. He moves to 19. 44 off 18 balls, so 3 overs remain. 44 to win for Essex. Set for a tight finish here, but 4 overs, 4 wickets, 30 runs for James Fuller. What a night he's had.
Yeah, terrific stuff. It's good bowling. That's a good hit, that last ball. He's given himself a little bit of room, hasn't he, Wesley? Opened his body out a little bit and just hit through the line. And the ball's pretty much hit the middle of the bat. Good shot. But he's got to take a few chances like that. Have to take a few more. 19 off 16 for Wesley. Najjar is 6 off 2. Essex 112 for 6 with 18 balls remaining. They need 44, as Emily said. 130 in the Duckworth Lewis is showing, and after 17 overs, Hampshire were 124 for 5. So Essex behind, but slowly but surely they're closing the gap. But this rain, this light rain in the air is still around, hasn't really caused too much of a problem, has it? And the crowd have not moved. I guess they're wetter out there than you think, but they seem to be quite happy. Chris Wood back into the attack. 2 overs, none for 11. He's round the wicket to Najjar, the left-hander, way outside the off stump. That's going to be a wide. That'll be another ball. Hampshire have 7 minutes in which to get through this over and the next one, and be in a position to start over number 20. That, for me, is very tight, especially if there are 2 or 3 big hits. Wood again from that pavilion end, round the wicket to Najjar. Najjar hits it, but only off the bottom of the bat, back to the bowler, and that is a dot ball.
Great delivery that from Chris Wood.
The school children are forming that sort of row at the bottom, aren't they? And as you said earlier, they've been banging the
I'm worried for the life of the advertising boards, Kev, the way they were ferociously banging them.
Taking a battering, haven't they? Wood bowls again, and Ageas on 1 foot there, hits it in the air. It's just short of backward a point. Joe Weatherley, who came in hard and went at it, and the throw comes in, Ageas just home. They will pick up 2, but he was on 1 foot there, hitting that away to a full delivery outside off stump from Chris Wood. Ageas moves on to 7, 115 for 6 then Essex. Duckworth Lewis showing 132, but we've said that all the way through this Essex innings. They're not going off. I think even if we had a deluge now, they wouldn't go off. This game is too tight. Hampshire shading it at the moment. Wasby still showing only 5%. Essex win ratio here. Remember, 156 is the winning target. Woods round the wicket. Ageas hits that full delivery up to mid-off. It'll only be a single. Vince picks it up. Takes Essex on to 116 for 6.
40 off 15.
I mean, being 6 down, they shouldn't get it.
The gap's separating more and more, isn't it, as these deliveries come on, so favouring the bowling team, but anything can happen here. The ball's skidding on, batter gets after a bowler. I'm trying to think who's going to be bowling these death overs. Will's got 1 more, and Wood, it's going to have to be to close out.
I think so, wouldn't he? Switching to over the wicket to the right-hander Wesley. Wesley needs to do something here if Essex are to win this game. And he needs to do it pretty quickly. Swings it away, bowled! Trying to heave across the line on the leg side. Wood celebrates and hits the middle stump. And Wesley goes for 19, and Essex are 116 for 7.
Yeah, great miss again from Hampshire. The guys in yellow celebrating with each other, all in quickly. Another wicket for Hampshire, and you think that puts Hampshire, the game, half in their pocket, half in the bag. Definitely favourites at this point.
Didn't quite have the strength there at Tom Wesley.
Shane Snater comes to the crease. His first game in the T20 Blast this year because of an injury. Bowled nicely. Didn't pick up a wicket, but it's 4 overs for 19 runs. But he's got a job to do with the bat for Essex. 40 runs required off 14 balls.
Getting harder and harder. A wicket or a dot ball now, it gets that much harder. So Snater, the right-hander, facing Chris Wood over the wicket again. Snater swings it away, high into the night sky. I think that might be safe. It falls just short to the fielders coming in at square point, backward square point, and they'll come back for 2. Snater runs well past the stumps there to make sure he's home. So Snater moves from 2 off his first ball, 118 for 7. Duckworth Lewis still way ahead at 137, and Essex 38 off 13. I'm taking your calculations here. Snater swings that away on the onside, but should only be a single as it goes out to deep mid-wicket. Snater says no, stay there. It's an Ageas, and that's only a single, and that's a good over there from Chris Wood, with Essex at 119 for 7, a wicket in it, and only 7 runs.
So 37 of 12 deliveries required for Essex. They're 7 wickets down. Snater and Ageas at the crease. Only face 7 balls between them, so they're new to the crease. No one is set. And Hampshire making this hard work for Essex. They're bowling superbly here. Brad Wheel will be bowling the second to last over from the hotel end. As Vince just making sure he gets his field right, including fielders in the right position. So Fuller is jogging from mid-off to long off, and Dawson comes in the ring. The rain's still in the air, but we've managed to get a game here. As Wheel bowls to Snater, he's ramped that, but he hasn't got hold of it, so it will just be a single. He moves to 4. 36 off 11.
It's over 3 a ball, isn't it? That's 3 a ball, isn't it, effectively? So
over 3-a-ball.
This is over 3-a-ball, yeah. I mean, that's hard, isn't it? When you're 7 down, you've got your lower order batters in there who don't do a lot of batting in this competition, neither of them. And that's a tough ask. Hampshire should win this.
Fine leg up in the circle. Otherwise, 3 fielders out as Wheel in bowls. That's play, misses out wicket. Yes, it is! Caught behind. Wheel picks up his first wicket of the night. And Ageas is gone for 8 of 6 deliveries. 120 for 8 now. Hampshire right on top here.
Yeah, all Essex can do now is just swing the bat. And we've seen how difficult it is at the ball's line and length to hit through the line. Just the faintest of outside edges. He's always carrying through to the keeper. Should be a formality now.
Great piece of bowling from Will into the pitch. The ball skidding on. McDermott doing the rest, the Australian. The overseas for Hampshire behind the stumps. Brad Wheel, first wicket of the night.
So Ben Allison, who's had a good night with the ball.
And in the field.
Yeah, some catches as well in the deep. Is his good night going to carry on? In fact, if he's to win this for Essex, it will go up a notch, his night.
Wheel into Allison. That's a player miss outside the off stump. Taken just in front of his face, McDermott. The ball was still carrying through to that keeper, but a dot ball importantly.
So Hampshire have 2 minutes in which to bowl 3 balls and not be penalised in the last over.
36 off 9. As Wheel in bowls. That's bowled him! Allison's night did not get any better, and he's got a duck. He's gone, and that's 9 wickets down from Hampshire. Fantastic bowling display this, and death bowling from Will. The team are enjoying this. 120 for 9. Allison gone for 0.
Great Yorker. Absolutely nailed that Yorker with the middle stump coming out of the ground. Allison is going nowhere. I don't think many batters would be going anywhere with that. That's a superb delivery. And Essex under massive pressure now with 1 wicket left. Sam Cook coming to the crease. This looks like being Hampshire's 3rd win on the trot.
Yeah, and the dugout enjoyed that one as well. They have their obviously towels and they are waving it above their heads, which I think is really, really nice. And that shows the cohesion, the group that Hampshire are forming now. They've won the 2 previous games and they should win the 3rd here. Brad Wheel then. First delivery to Cook, bowls, who advances. That's hit up in the air. That's going to land safely. So Cook's off the mark with his first delivery. 35 required now for Essex. 7 balls to do it.
Hampshire have 1 minute left to bowl this ball and be in position at the start of the last over. Otherwise, they're only allowed, what, 3 outside the circle for the last over?
4, I believe.
Oh.
As Wheel in bowls, advances, that's high in the air. This could be the wicket. I think it's going to land safe. Yes, it does. Plugs on the outfield, and they come back for a couple. Snater to 6. 123 for 9 then Essex. 34 required off the last over. I mean, it's 33. It's doable. But with the boundaries as big as they are, how Hampshire are bowling, something would have to go seriously wrong for Hampshire to lose this game.
Well, they've got to hit 6 sixes, haven't they, effectively? So if the first ball doesn't go for 6, as long as we don't get a wide or a no ball, Hampshire will be victors. So 6 balls left. Essex 123 for 9. Great stuff from Brad Wheel, 2 for 19 from his 4. And Chris Wood with 1 from 18 from 3 will complete the last over. Bowls, and he's bowled. Oh, that's it. That is it. Sam Cook coming across his stumps far too far, and the leg stump is out of the ground. And Essex have been bowled out for 123 here at the Ageas Bowl. Hampshire have won this game by 34 runs. and that is 3 wins on the trot now for the Hawks, having opened their 2022 T20 campaign with 4 defeats, including a big defeat against tonight's opposition at Chelmsford last week. That's revenge, and Hampshire most certainly on a roll.
Yeah, they definitely are. Impressive performance from them all round. It's not been easy conditions throughout with the rain that's been above us, but stand out with the bat. James Vince, the captain, leading from the front as always, 44 from 38. Tom Press contributing with 30, Joe Weatherley 38, and a really impressive innings for me at the end was that Toby Albert 24 off 12 deliveries set up that Hampshire first innings, but with the ball, all the bowlers contributed well, but stand out Fuller, James Fuller yet again in a Hampshire shirt, 4 overs, 30 runs and 4 wickets. But Wood picked up 2, Wheel picked up 2, Crane picked up 1, Dawson picked up 1, so there's confidence in that dressing room. More than one player is stepping up here, and as you said, Kev, 3 wins on the back-to-back, Hampshire are gaining some momentum.
They certainly are. Yet nobody in the Essex side really got going, did they? Paul Walter with 27 from 24 balls, top scorer. There was a few that got in the teens. 19 from Tom Wesley, 14 from Matt Critchley, but nothing really of substance, and Essex paid the price for that. Not probably the best conditions to bat in, but I suppose you could say that as well with the ball and also those that were in the field. It's a bit of a stop-start season this year for Essex in this competition. They win 1 and then they lose 1. Their last win against Kent again has followed by another loss, so they're not really putting together any wins. So I guess with that run, you would say that Essex next game, they will win that one. So a welcome win this evening for Hampshire. That takes them to 5th in the table currently with 6 points from 7 played. So they are halfway through their competition. Essex are now just above Hampshire. They are 4th with 7 points from 7 matches played. So slowly but surely Hampshire beginning to climb the table and at last some form.
Yeah, and what difference a couple of games can make. It was a few games ago they were rock bottom, and now they're right in contention. If they keep playing the way they are, they can go on to the next stages. And just from the Hampshire point of view, all the players, are going towards all those 2,000 children that have been here at the Ageas Bowl today and enjoyed their night to sign some autographs, take some selfies. But what a fantastic evening it's been at the Ageas Bowl. Hampshire won by 33 runs.
Also tonight, Surrey have won the London Derby against Middlesex, and the other game in the South Group, Somerset need 38 from 2.4 overs to beat Gloucestershire. That's been affected by rain there. So as I say, the table I've just mentioned as regards these two sides. Surrey top the table with 13, then comes Somerset with 8, and Gloucestershire with 7, same as Essex, and then Hampshire with 6, and they have the same as Sussex and Middlesex, though ahead of them on run rate. Hope you've enjoyed the comment. Thank you, Emily. Thank you so much. Good luck on Saturday with the Vipers, who are playing in the final of the Charlotte Edwards Trophy. That match will be live on the BBC Sport website and also on all frequencies on BBC Radio Solent as well. They will play the winners of the semi-final between the Sparks and the South East Stars. If you're listening to us on the BBC online website, of course, well, we're off as we are on the live picture feed. Hope you've enjoyed the pictures, hope you've enjoyed the commentary from myself, Kevin James, and Emily Windsor. If you're listening on all frequencies on BBC Radio Solent, you've got a couple of more minutes before the sports show ends. We'll hand you back to Kane Reeves.